Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome back to Hall of Fame College Football with Jason and the coach. I'm your host, Jason Watkins. The coach will be along just in a few minutes, and if you love college football, you're definitely in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss one moment of Hall of Fame college football. Welcome into the show, everybody. We don't have anybody checking in yet. Come on now. Check in as you get here. Make sure you wipe them feet on the way. Say hello. Welcome into the chat. I know everybody's not so engrossed in election coverage that they're not going to watch the show. What's up there, Sooner Legend? My man. What's up, my guy? Good to see you. Our Moosehead, my guy. What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome in. Sooner. Here we go. I know everybody's not that excited about Norman. That's enough. Hey. I know everybody's not that excited about what's going on at the election stuff. It's probably you're not gonna get probably a decision on it until the end of the month anyway, I would think. What's up there, Drewski? Good to see you, my man. Good to see everybody in here. Welcome in. Coach will be along here shortly. We're gonna talk. We got quite a few things on the list of things to talk about today. Adjust the hat. What's up, man? Topher, good to see you guys. Good. Got lots of stuff to talk about, man. We're going to obviously jump into these CFP rankings. The first CFP rankings have been released. We'll talk a lot about that a little, once Coach gets here as well. But also want to get into Mike Gundy and his comments about fans. I've actually got the audio here. In fact, I need to send it on this way. Hold on one second here. I got the audio, what he had to say about Polk fans, which hilarious stuff. Talking about Polk fans that are complaining about them being shitty at 0-5. I tried to get old Cody Light to come in. He has not answered me to do so. So, I don't know. You know. Oh, no, I know. I know you won't, my man. I know you won't. I figured you'd be along. Waiting on everybody else to get in here. It's just a little late on everybody. Hey, what's up, Topher? Our Moosehead, Drewski. Good to see all you guys as well. Also going to be talking a little bit about, obviously we said the CFP. We'll have our CFP rankings, talk about that a little bit. There's been a little bit of controversy over Texas Tech's raising a stink about apparently being able to capture the helmet comms with this NFL technology. Let's jump into that a little bit. I want to ask everybody that comes into the show now, obviously, do you think that is Indiana really that good to be ranked number 8 in the country, or have they just beat up a bunch of has-beens or a bunch of nobodies, I guess is what I should ask. Obviously haven't had a big win just yet. Their biggest win probably being Nebraska. Norman, get out of the kitchen. I think you're crazy. This dog. No, lay down. Lay down over there. Lay down. And then, of course, we could jump into a little bit of what's up there, Mars? Good to see you, my man. Good. Jimmy, good to see you, my guy. Yeah, it does. It does hurt a little bit. But I don't know. We'll obviously talk a little bit about that Indiana deal, and then I think it definitely, and I wanted to talk to Coach about this. I think there's a lot of parity in college football. I think there's a lot more parity than I expected there to be overall, right? What's up, Mr. Chamberlain? David Chamberlain. Good to see you, my man. Glad you're here. I think there's more parity than I expected there to be with college football. I mean, you figure that the rich get richer, and I'm not going to tell you that I think that it's going to be completely like this forever. They've obviously separated out for the SEC and Big Ten. They're making considerably more money than everybody other than Notre Dame. So the other conferences are still going to, I feel like over the next couple of years, it kind of goes back to being what it was. because NIL can't be capped. You know, you can have a salary cap whenever you get to, as far as the rev share is concerned, but they won't be able to cap NIL, and that'll be the next way that you see the rich get richer and that kind of deal. But as of now, I think that you have a lot more parity, particularly within the big conferences. So when you start talking SEC or you talking about the Big Ten, I think that they're probably closer to each other than they have been. And part of that has to do with the fact that you've heard of talk that the television networks have definitely been letting everybody know that in those conferences, that if you're one of those normally bottom feeder schools, that you're going to have to start using some of this cash to get good coaches, to get, to pay these players, get good players and be competitive. There's talks about there being relegation at some point, kind of like that model that they do overseas with soccer and some of those other deals. So I can see some of that kind of going down. And then again, whenever you're getting, upwards of 100 million by the time these first contracts are up with Fox and ESPN and the Big Ten and SEC, there's no reason why you shouldn't. So it's kind of is what it is. But yeah. Also, like I said, we'll jump into some of this Mike Gundy stuff. Coach said he was going to be about 15 minutes late, so he's probably about 5 minutes out, I believe. We've got he's in there. He should be in there anytime now. But I haven't seen Cody Light anywhere. As far as I was wanting to talk to him about this Gundy deal. Now, he's been going toe-to-toe with Gundy for a few weeks. As a matter of fact, not even just Gundy, but also with some of the other coaches, some of the fans that are just, Gundy apologists and that kind of stuff as well. So I just wanted to kind of check in with him and see what's going on, how that all is working out. But, and, I would like to get somebody else we could get in here that would be good to talk to a little bit. Man, we only have 17 people in here right now. Dang. If OU can beat Missouri, I think that's a massive win because the CFP ranked Missouri for this week, and OU not just needs a win, but a win against a ranked opponent. Yeah, I noticed that. Let's get into that a little bit. So let's go ahead and we'll pop up let me share this screen real quick. All right. So number one, obviously you got Oregon at 9-0, Ohio State coming in at number 2, Georgia at number 3 in the rankings, Miami at 4, Texas 5, Penn State at 6, Tennessee at 7, Indiana 8, number 9 BYU. That's who we need to get in here is our buddy Bomber. Let me see if he's available. 10 Notre Dame, 11 Alabama, so they would be just inside the playoff ranking at the moment. And then 12 Boise State. Now the question is whether or not they ranked them that because they think they're the top 12 team in the country, or it's because they are the first group of 5 school ranked. So they're going to rank them 12 at the moment. I need to read up on that because I hadn't noticed that that's how they do it, but it could be. Yeah, I'm guessing that's probably got to be how they're doing it because you're going to rank them that way no matter what. So the top group of 5 school is going to get that 12 seed more than likely. You expect that anyway. Of course, 13 at SMU, so they're right outside of that. Texas A&M right outside of that as well. LSU, Ole Miss, Iowa State, Pitt, Kansas State didn't fall too far, even though they lost that game to Houston. Colorado in the top 20 as well. Washington State, Louisville, Clemson, Mizzou, and Army. Now, obviously, Army, let's see, who else? Let's look it through here for the G5 schools. Who else is going to be G5? Is that the next ranked G5 school? It appears that it is. Nope, Washington State. So it looks like they got Washington State next on the list to slide into that 12 spot, I guess. That if the playoffs were to start today, that's how it would work out. So let's see. All right. So I agree with you, David. I think that'd be a big win for Oklahoma, and they need to win anyway. So I know that you prefer the Indiana choice for Oklahoma. I really like to watch film study of the go-go offense. As far as the offense is concerned, I don't really. I like Indiana. I like what they're doing. I don't mind the go-go so much. I mean, I know what you're referring to and what you think I'm getting at. To be honest with you, that's not really the case. I like the go-go. My concern is if you don't keep Brennan around for very long, who's going to step in there and provide some continuity if you like the offense, right? Then you're looking at having to change offenses again here in a couple of years. I don't think that that's the way to go about remaining a top offensive program, is my thing. The other thing is what's up there, Kimberly K? The other thing I feel like is what you run into is, well, kind of, let me get back to here. I kind of feel like you run into a situation overall where I don't know that going to that is something that I see Brent Venables doing, because we saw when they changed the offense away from what they'd been doing the last couple of years. Now, obviously, I would just tell you that maybe that was an anomaly, right? Maybe it was. In the end, I don't know that you want to switch it up on them again when it looks like they're starting to kind of, especially with Jackson Arnold, if you're wanting Jackson to stay and if you're on the boat that believes that he's going to stay, you need to try to stick with an offense that he's comfortable with. And we know that he's comfortable with the Levy offense, which is the veer and shoot, bear raid for the Bryles offense, if you want to call it that, right? As far as needing an offense that complements the defense, I think any offense that puts up points will complement this defense. As far as speeding it up all the time, I don't think that you have to do that. I think that we've seen that you don't have to go 100 miles an hour in order for that to work. What I think that who I like that still kind of speeds it up the most would be probably Sark, because Sark seems to speed up whenever they get a first down off of a certain, they may hit a big play and they're going to immediately get back to the line and go back to it so that you can't substitute and they can catch you slipping again. That's smart moving fast. You know what I mean? Hey, here's the coach right here. Welcome to the show to Coach Philip Roybal. What's up, my man?
Good. How you guys doing?
Hey, man, it's always good.
Y'all aren't talking college football, are you?
Talking a little bit of college football, yeah. I mean, it's kind of how we roll around here, right?
I love it.
Yeah. Welcome in, Coach. We were just talking a little bit. We popped up the first CFP rankings are here.
Yes,
we'll
sir.
jump back into some of this other stuff with the offense in a little bit, man. And maybe in the morning. So you guys make sure you jump in here. But we got a lot of stuff to talk about here tonight. Obviously, we were going to talk about we may talk about a little Oklahoma towards the end, but we've got a few things that we want to talk about first. So, Coach, did you get a chance to look at the rankings so far?
You know what? I've been up to my ass in alligators today.
Shit.
So
hold on. Could be me though.
Can you hear me? Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me?
Are you guys hearing the coach?
Hey guys, can y'all hear me?
Somebody say, okay, you hear coach. All right, hold on 1 second. I mean, this has got to be me then. And I've been having issues, so that could be the problem.
And I've been having issues the last couple of times.
No, I got it, man. It's there's been some issues with the damn roadcaster. I've been having all kinds of hell for the last 2 days. But I got you now. I hear you. You hear me?
I do.
Okay. All right. I didn't get to hear what you said though. College football top 25 rankings pop in. What do you got?
Well, and I was just saying this is the first time I've looked at it because I've been up up to my ass in alligators today. But I'm just briefly looking at it as we're talking. I don't know. I don't think that it's too far off.
Yeah, and obviously you got time, right? I mean, you figure you've got 4 weeks left of the season.
Yeah, I mean it's still early. Some of these teams still have to play each other.
Yeah.
Which can cause some things there. I'd look at it and I know who is it? Tennessee. They've got to play. Who's Tennessee still got left?
Tennessee. Let me pull that up. I can pull that all up.
I know they still have a tough game down the road there.
Tennessee actually. Let's see. Their last 4, they still have Georgia left, so they've got.
Yeah, I was thinking it was Georgia.
Yeah. So this week this week they've got Mississippi State in Knoxville. They're on the road at Georgia. Then they got UTEP and Vanderbilt. So they actually have a couple of games that are because the Vanderbilt game is in Nashville as well. So that's a 2 road games that you have to. I tell you, I hadn't really looked. I think that Tennessee is definitely one of the better teams in the SEC.
I agree.
But I don't know that I trust. I don't think that they beat Georgia, particularly on the road in Athens. I just don't.
Well, and that's I think that's the big question too: is how bad does Georgia beat them?
Yeah, because that would just be a second loss.
Yes,
obviously.
Yes.
And so I don't think that it knocks you completely out of contention, right? Here's Stovall. Let me see what he says.
I think it could just drop you a little bit, but again, what's the score look like versus Georgia, and then you got Vandy in there too. Then Vandy can, as we all know, can beat your ass.
Yeah, listen, man. I mean, ask
now if they lose to Georgia and Vandy, then they drop out of the top 10 pretty quick, I think.
Sure. Yeah. So I mean, Vanderbilt, they're ranked. Let's see. Do they still have them ranked in the top?
I think they got.
They're out of it. They're out of the top 25. So you've got Missouri is still in there, so that's good for Oklahoma. We were just talking about that before you came in. What's up there, Derek Hamilton, Zayas Bilou, Bishop Frank, my man. Good to see you.
Yeah, that is good for Oklahoma.
If you can pick up a win this weekend over a ranked team, now of course they won't be ranked anymore once you beat them. But the thing is that Oklahoma's 4 losses hadn't come to there hadn't been a loss to a cream puff, or anybody like that. So it's and they've been in basically aside from the Texas game, the final score. But I mean, they had opportunities where they could have been in that game and even won it. I would have said the same thing about the Tennessee game. Offensively speaking, they just been crappy. So yeah, it'd be big it'd be a big move forward for Oklahoma. It should give you some kind of definitely some momentum moving forward. You've got 2 weeks before that. After that, you've got 2 weeks until you get Alabama at home. So
there's definitely some incentive there for OU to to finish strong here and have a chance to win some ball games.
Yep, absolutely. T Boomer, what's up, my guy?
Well, I look at another team I looked at here that caught my eye was again Louisville moving up to 22. I mean, that was a huge win for Louisville versus Clemson.
And it wasn't even a close game, man. This is at
Death Valley. It was a blowout.
They beat the shit out of them. And I mean, the final score looked closer than what it was.
Yeah.
I think that we probably should have brought that into the conversation as far as what I was expecting to talk about tonight. But because I'll be honest with you, I think that Dabo, we've talked a lot about your unwillingness to use the portal. Well, I think that came into full picture this past week.
And you know what, Jason, as I watched that ball game, because obviously I had huge interest in that ball game.
Sure.
Stephen G.
My guy.
But I had huge interest in that game from Louisville's perspective and Notre Dame having played Louisville. So, that was a good win for us or for Louisville. And it helped us, I believe. But again, Clemson they did some very questionable things in that ball game. I mean, when they needed to be hurrying up and running some offense, they were just. It was like, yeah, we're good. We're not in any hurry. It
was a weird game, right?
Yeah, it really was a weird ball game to me.
Yeah.
So, but I was glad Louisville put it on their ass.
Listen, man, I think that when it comes to Clemson, you're either one side or the other. Now, and look, I don't mind that Dabo is sticking to his guns on it. If you believe on what you go out on your sword, I guess. But it feels like to me, it almost is like one of the next things we're going to talk about is Mike Gundy and what he's taken this shit so far, the last couple of days that it's just gone out of control. But I would say that like with Dabo, these guys are sticking so tight to what they want to do and how they want to do it. And look, to me, I don't know why you would, if you really hate the way college football is, and you know that it's not changing because that NIL isn't going to change, that the transfer.
Well, it's going to change. It's going to change, okay.
Well, but
it's going to continue to change
back to the way it was.
It's not going in reverse. Exactly.
Correct. You're going to continue seeing players be more empowered to do what they want to do, and this idea that nobody is good enough to play for you if they're in the portal is bullshit. And I would tell you that he did a good job. They did a good job with their offensive line and bringing in Matt Luke. I mean, he's one of the better O-line coaches in the country. We know that. I think that, but there's guys that it's not just your recruiting. I mean, I agree that, we've been talking about this a lot with Oklahoma because of their issues on the offensive line. What we've noticed in the last few games where you have to play some of the guys that you've been getting out of high school. Now, number one, I would say that was one of the parts of the cupboard that was left the least open, right? As far as full. Whenever Leakin left was on that O-line. Now they weren't, for whatever reason, they weren't recruiting as well. They only got 5 guys in his last 2 seasons on the O-line. I think a lot of that had to do with Benny Wiley. I'll just be honest with you. But in the end, that kind of it forced Oklahoma to have to go into the portal. And I don't think that you're really going to do very well just being in the portal, right? I just don't think. I think that's where you have to build through high school. You have to build a foundation of guys that you're bringing them up year after year and developing those guys.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's one of those. That's one of those areas you gotta bring the two. You gotta marry the two together, the portal and your high school kids.
Right, and I think that with Oklahoma, they had to get because they had a short covered, and then they've had 2 first rounders in the last couple of years. They've also had some guys that did transfer or get out of there. Savion Byrd ended up at SMU. He never really had come through to become the guy that you wanted him to be. But, because of that, you had to get 4 guys that you were expecting to basically 4 out of the 5 were going to be transfer guys that were, or at least 3 out of the 5, 3 to 4. You played a bunch of them is what I'll put it at. They haven't panned out to be as good as you wanted them to be. Well, I think it's always going to be a crapshoot along the trenches, right? I think it always is because when you've got a good one, you're not going to let him go. You got a good one, you're not going to let him go very often because they're just, those big guys are, and really good ones are hard to come by, wouldn't you say, Coach?
Yo, there's no doubt about it. They're definitely hard to come by.
Yeah.
That's not an easy task.
I think if you're dependent upon it, I think that to some extent, I understand where Dabo's at. I think if you're fully dependent on the portal, we haven't really seen that work either. Now, you can argue Colorado. Well, Colorado had to do a lot of that kind of stuff for the first 2 years because they've been shitty, and it's not like they had a bunch to pull from to begin with. But they're also doing some things to start doing better in high school recruiting as well, as far as I can tell too. You look at what happened with Ole Miss. Hey, we got a couple of super chats. Let me get this first one for Neilio, $5. Hey there, Jason and Coach.
All right, Neilio.
Thank you, Neilio. Thank you, sir. And then Chicken coming in hot with a 20.
Chicken.
Her shot is on me. Thank you, Chicken. Appreciate you, my guy.
Thanks, my brother.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Neilio, Chicken. Who else is in here? Jimmy Satterfield, Bishop Frank. Thanks a lot for coming in. Steve G. We have not. We're going to probably stick to most of the OU stuff I'm going to get into in the morning on Rise and Shine College Football. We got a lot to talk about as far as like the national pictures tonight. I'm just kind of equating what we're talking about as far as where Clemson is at, because they're still in that top 25. But I think that I heard Josh Pate say the other night, this is the end of that's the game the other night is what showed you that you can't do it. Right? You're just not going to be able to do it.
Right.
So you have to find a way to get in there and be aggressive with a couple of guys. Look, you can't tell me that because you're going to lose guys to the portal.
Yep.
So if you have a shortage somewhere and, something happens, you get an injury, whatever, that we talk about it all the time. Competitive depth is an important thing.
No doubt.
Right? I
And
mean,
I'm
look at
telling
you
you,
guys'
I can
offensive
tell you,
line.
that's what I was just figuring to say, Jason. We are living on our depth right now. Because I'm going to tell you what, if we were back in the Kelly era, we would be up shit creek without a paddle.
Right. Right. No doubt. I agree. And I just think that's where, it becomes apparent that you don't have everything that you need. And like Louisville, first of all, I think Jeff Brom is probably one of the more underrated coaches in the country.
Yes, sir. Amen, brother.
I've been saying it for a while. I was saying it when he was at Purdue. I said it last year. Now they kind of petered out a little bit last year, but it was his first year at Louisville. I think he's one of those guys that, hell, I wouldn't mind.
They stroked our ass last year.
Hey, listen, man, he wins a lot of damn football games. He wins a lot of damn football games. And I would tell you that if Oklahoma was in right now looking for a head coach, he'd be one of the first places I want you to call.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I
think he's definitely one of the better ones.
Well, and going back and talking about Clemson and the portal and Dabo, here's the thing. I agree with you. I respect his decision to do what he believes is best for his program.
Sure.
But I will also talk out of the other side of my mouth and say, that shit ain't working, Dabo.
Facts.
And if that shit ain't working, then you have to adjust.
Mm-hmm.
And he's made it very obvious he's not willing to adjust. And you know what? There was another coach that was very successful recently that really didn't want to adjust to all this bullshit. And you know what? What did he do? He hung it up.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Dabo, maybe it's that time for you to hang it up. And I'm not trying to be mean or rude by saying that. But if you're not willing to change, why are you going to continue to hurt your program? Because it's going to hurt that program. And they could drop from being one of the elites in college football to the cellar pretty damn quick. And so again, I struggle with him just locking his heels in and saying, I ain't doing that shit. Well, look what's happening.
At some point you're going to have to do it. That's for sure. I agree with you. I think that's part of what I was getting at, was that really, to be honest with you, I feel like you're holding the school hostage like that just because you won a pair of national titles and played in some other playoffs doesn't mean that you shouldn't, that you've done enough to where you should ride that thing all the way into the ground.
Exactly.
Bring somebody. I mean, if you really do feel the way that you feel, do what Saban did. And for the sake of the program that you built up,
Thank you.
Allow them to be successful. Allow them to be successful. You know,
and you know what? That kind of stuff comes to all of us, whether it's football or whatever it may be. It's in all of our lives, and you've got to make good decisions that not only affect you, but they affect the whole. And that's what I don't believe that he's doing well. I don't think he's looking at the perspective as a whole, and that's going to be critical. And I got to tell you what, if I'm his athletic director, I tell him, look, you're going to use the damn portal. If you don't use the portal, I'm going to fire your ass. Now you make up your decision after that. How do you want to respond to that?
Listen, and it's not like you have to. It's just you can't completely decide that you're not going to do it, right? And
you can.
Well, you can.
You can, and he is. That's the
what
problem.
I'm saying is, if I'm the athletic director, I'm like, look, I get it that we want to be selective, but let's go be aggressive with the guys that we can use. You know, let's go be aggressive with those guys. And if you're not willing to do that, then I got to tell you, this isn't going to continue working. We enjoy being among, the elite teams in the country, and that's not who we are anymore.
No. And guys, let's face it. We all live in this world, and it's, what have you done for me lately? You know what? I don't give a shit that you've won national championships or you've been in the hunt for national championships, because right now you just got your ass beat by Louisville. And handed, not just beat. You got your ass handed to you.
It wasn't close, Coach. It wasn't close. It was not. Put it to you this way: Clemson fans were leaving in the third quarter.
Yeah.
So,
well, I almost left in the third quarter too, but I was enjoying the hell out of it, so I stayed and watched.
Yeah, I get it. Obviously, let me see this. Let's see, 13 SMU boys. Talk about obviously the top 12 is who would get into the playoff if it was to start today. The Boise State being at 12. I don't think anybody believes that but it's possible. I hadn't actually looked at the AP top 25, and I've got our rankings as well, but I don't think that most people think Boise State's a top 12 team. I think that they're the best of the group of five, the group of six schools. And they are at 7-1. Maybe they are top 12, but obviously they're number 12, Alabama coming in at 11, Notre Dame at 10, BYU at number 9, Indiana at number 8. Do you think that Indiana is as good as the record?
I don't. No, I don't. And I got to tell you, I don't think BYU's as good as their record shows. I think they're good, but I'm not sure they're as good as a 9 ranking.
Right. Yeah, I don't know that I believe in BYU really either. And we should try to see if we can get Bomber in here.
I think they'll shat their pants before the end of the year.
Yeah, well, the thing is the main thing, you just got to win your conference if you're in one of these power conferences. Now,
I know.
My guess is that only one, the ACC or the Big 12, is going to get 2 teams in. That's my belief. Right. It's not going to be both. And right now, when you had Iowa State take a header last week.
Yep.
And losing to Texas Tech, which is wild. And then you also had Kansas State fall. They got beat at Houston, and so they're having a tough time on the road for whatever reason. K-State is, but that really put. Hey, I tell you who it put into a position: Colorado.
Yeah,
because now
exactly
Iowa State and K-State got to play at the end of the year. One of those teams is going to lose.
Yep.
And if it's Iowa State, then if Colorado wins out, they're in that spot. Right? Because that'd be a second loss. Now, if it's Kansas State, Iowa State, I don't believe that Colorado plays them or not. I can pull that up real quick. Big 12 schedule.
Yeah, but it's helped Colorado.
Definitely. And, and listen, man, we can say that all we want to. I mean, they played a good game against K-State also, and lost, but it was a hell of a football game. Right. But I would say that, overall, you gotta say they've played damn good football in comparison to what we expected from them this year.
Sure.
Shedeur Sanders, I mean,
I don't know. They got two of the best players.
I think Carson Beck may have played his way out of the fucking draft, where Shedeur keeps playing his way further up the draft.
Up the draft, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, man, I'm glad you're here too, man. Glad you're here and talking with us, man. And yeah, I don't know, man. I just think that overall, as you look at it, there's a lot of things still going to happen though. This top 12 is going to be fluid. I think SMU has proven they're one of the better teams. Can Miami win somebody just asked in the chat, can Miami win the ACC? Well, they've never done it. They've never done it before, and they keep getting in these situations. I mean, I think they were down 20 going into the fourth quarter or something like that, and ended up still covering over Duke, which is,
and Duke again, they pissed down their leg because they should have won that ball game.
They should have won that ball game. And not only did they lose it, they got their ass kicked. I mean, they covered the spread. I mean, it's to me, Miami, but they've been living dangerously all year. Now Cam Ward is an equalizer that I guess Mario's never had that before because, aside from Cam Ward, I think they're probably got 3 losses at this point. More than likely, at least.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then,
but you know what I'm excited about though, Jason? I love seeing. I love seeing Miami up there. Yeah. God, I hope we get a chance to get through the bracket and play Miami. I mean, if we get in there, so it kind of opens some things up for the rest of the people that are going to make that 12-team bracket. I mean,
the only thing is Cam Ward is the real deal. We know that.
Yeah, I know he's a real deal, but again, they've been in some close ball games.
Yeah,
I don't
think they've been hitting the mouth yet either.
And that was my next statement. I would love to play Miami as a Notre Dame fan because I guarantee you, we'll hit them in the mouth.
No doubt. Well, that's why
I'm not just saying Notre Dame. I think there's others out there too that would do that.
You need the Blue Bloods up there in the rankings. Yeah, and you've got a few of them. I mean, you've got Ohio State as a blue blood. Notre Dame's in it. Alabama's in it. They're still there. Blue blood wise, I don't know. Texas, I guess, is a blue blood. I'm going to tell you, I don't think Texas stays up there.
I don't either.
I don't. I think now I would have told you that I thought that, Florida would probably get them this week, but they're now down to their third string quarterback, and they, as good as well as they played early on, and I think that they played a hell of a game against Georgia. Now they're gonna because that's a rivalry game, but I thought that they were a lot better. Their defense is good, but without DJ Lagway and without Graham Mertz, I don't know that you put it on this freshman to come in there and do all that when it's not the freshman that you're thinking of. Or I don't know if he's a freshman, but he's a brand new guy. Coach Ricks, what's up, my man? Good to see you in here.
Coach Ricks.
If something ends up killing Miami, it'll be their ability to defend super talented players. They tend to leave the barn door open too often. Yeah.
There's some fact to that.
Yeah, they do.
That's why they've had some close ball games.
Yeah, listen, they give up points. I think that's for sure one of those things. And I do think that, hey, man, I would tell you that I think that Miami's a little better than we expected them to be. Now, I don't trust Mario Cristobal. We've seen them fail to keep it together. And so I'm going to tell you that, do I think they win the ACC? I think they should win the ACC. I think they may win the ACC, but it would not surprise me if they didn't. I'll just be honest with you. I think that SMU might be the best team.
I think you could be right.
SMU's looked really good, man. And look at what they did to JJ's boys. Pitt was undefeated, and they bitch slapped them this past weekend. I mean, bitch slapped them. It wasn't even close. So it is what it is. But yeah, I don't know, man.
So Jason, just looking at the Big 12, you got BYU at 5-0. You have Iowa State 4-1, Colorado 4-1, Kansas State now to 4-2, Texas Tech 4-2. So just looking at that. So how do you feel that's going to play out? Who do you think is going to play in the conference championship in that
I think
in the Big 12?
Well, I think this weekend will tell you a lot about. I think if you're going to lose a game, if you're BYU right now, it's going to be this weekend. They got the Holy War coming up this weekend with Utah.
Yep.
I don't think that Utah's very good.
Boy, did they falter this year?
Yeah, not like Oklahoma State did, but they have faltered a bit. Yeah, the Bless Your Heart League, as Bagman's calling them. That's correct.
I love it.
Yeah, but yeah, I do think that, man. I'll be honest with you. I think that this is a hell of a
chicken going to watch Dancing with the Stars.
What the hell?
Chicken, I'll dance with you. Come on.
Must be a Christina thing. It must be a Christina thing. Good grief. That's pretty messed up there, chicken. Damn.
Still love you, brother. Just drop us another drink in here for us.
I see how it is, man. I see how it is, chicken. No, you tell Christina we said hello. And
enjoy, brother.
You guys have fun, man. Yeah, take care of Christina. All right, man. Have a good one, man.
Hey, next time I'll make me a little dance floor back here and dance for y'all, chicken. We'll keep you on the show, and you can watch dancing too.
I got it. Well, you tell her we
love you, brother.
Hello anyway, and we love her. All right. Back. Sorry, had to go troll some USC guys, some USC fans. Yeah, we'll talk about a little bit of that. You guys will have fun with this one. KJ Golded, he says, as a Sooner, do I pull for, I don't know what this is, something in UT or DG in the Ducks? Oh, hype in UT or DG in the Ducks more in the college football playoff? Yeah, I don't know. I don't think either one of them wins it. So I pull for Heupel because it's Heupel. But I'll tell you,
guys, both of those teams are suspect as well.
Thank you, Chicken. You didn't have to toss us another 20, but I do appreciate it.
Chicken. Thank you, brother.
Good man. Yeah, he says, not me, and you know. All right. I got you. Yeah, Coach. I was actually about to send you that. Hold on just a second. Go ahead, Coach.
I'm just saying both of those teams are also suspect. I mean, guys, there's not anybody you can just say they're going to line up and whip our ass.
Well, Coach, think about it. Last year, what were we saying? That there was 4 or 5 teams possibly that maybe could win it, right?
Yeah, right.
But I don't think I mean, out of that top 12, aside from that top 12, I mean, I think everybody in the top 12, except for maybe Boise, could probably win the damn thing.
Yeah.
Except in Indiana. I don't buy Indiana. I don't buy Indiana yet.
Well, and I tell you what, I don't buy Penn State.
Yeah, I don't buy Penn State either. And
I tell you what, just looking at that top 10, Jason, I'm not 100% sold on BYU. I'm not 100% sold on Indiana.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sold on Penn State. I'm definitely not completely sold on Miami.
But I mean,
but like I was saying earlier,
I understand that. But my question would be: do you believe that a lot of those teams are going to beat some of these other teams? Because I think that there's a lot of teams in there that you don't trust them to win it, but it's not like they're a lot worse than anybody else as well.
No. That's I mean, it could definitely be a damn coin toss. I agree.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that that's the thing about it is that you feel like, to be honest with you, I think that there's out of that top 12, I would tell you I don't believe in Boise State at all. I love their running back situation.
They're
I think
running back,
damn
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But I think that overall,
but again, if you get somebody hits you in the mouth,
correct.
you know.
Yeah,
I think
no,
that's big.
I agree. I agree 100%. I agree. Damn it, this thing. Why is
And
this
that's
on?
and that's kind of what I'm seeing here, Jason, is there's some of these teams that just squeak by and come from way behind.
Right.
You know, and I saw earlier where somebody said I think they were talking about Miami just being lucky. Hell, Miami's lucky. Penn State's lucky. I mean, you look at some of these teams and they've gotten lucky. They really have. You know, I'm going to tell you this. You know, I'm not even sure Notre Dame should be at number 10, to be honest with you, because that week 2 loss that we had, that was massive. And you know, we shit our pants.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago now. I mean, the point
it was a long time ago, but I can guarantee you
very well though since then.
They have
beat a good team like Louisville. It kind of is what it is.
And I agree with you. And you know what? As when we've played some of these teams, they've been ranked in the top 25. We've beat them. Some have fallen out of the top 25. But you know, but again, I'm glad we're at number 10. But I'm going to say this too. After we shit our pants in week 2, which thank God it was then and not now.
Right.
Because I haven't forgotten that. I can promise you.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, with saying that I'm not sure we should be 10, I'll also back it up with saying I think we can beat everybody above us in that's up there.
Okay. See, I would agree, and I think
if we play well.
Somebody said in here is that they think South Carolina is better than they gave them credit for. I think that might have been.
Yes, I agree.
I don't know that I don't agree. I'm not. I don't believe in Shane Beamer. I think that they've got a damn good defense, and I think that Texas A&M fell victim to being Texas A&M.
Yeah, yeah.
You're talking about them. They've had a couple of big wins. They were number 1 in the SEC, but they're still tied at the top of the SEC.
But you know, what were they supposed to be? What were they supposed to be coming into this season? A&M.
A&M.
They weren't supposed to be very good.
No. Well, but I'm saying, but no, it's who they are. I agree all the time. And Texas A&M is a perpetual 8-4 fucking football program. That's just who they are.
Exactly.
And I don't know that I believe that I think that they are definitely have a better coach than an 8-4 coach. I think that Mike Elko is very good. Now, but I don't know that it's good enough to overcome that shit. And the truth is, they didn't show that they didn't have a lot of discipline in the game against South Carolina. And how can you be less disciplined than South Carolina?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Beamer he gets his players to play for him sometimes. Zayas, I mean, sometimes.
I can go back and look at his schedule and show you where he had it.
But so can I.
And it's probably 50-50.
We watched him gag all over himself quite a few times, even this year. What's up there, Coach Ricks? Welcome into the show.
What's going on,
Coach Ricks?
What's going on, Coach? How's everything going?
What's up, my brother?
Man, just getting back from these clinics, man. Tired, ready to call the night. I heard you guys on and said, gotta jump on here and get some of this.
Yeah, man. I know you're in agreement with me about South Carolina that they're just not that good, but I don't think they are. I think that this week ought to tell you something about that one. I mean, we've obviously now do I think that they should be ranked right now in the poll? Probably because they're at 3 losses and they're probably better, but they've still got honestly shit. They've got Vanderbilt this weekend, and it's in Nashville. I bet you they lose the game. I do. I bet you they lose that damn game.
The games are supposed to
Vandy will
lose.
get after your ass.
I think Vandy's good, but I think they lose that damn game because I think that Vandy can put up some points. And the problem with South Carolina is that they really don't put up very many points unless their defense is scoring points for them.
They've gotten very fortunate. Hit some good points. Caught some right teams at the right time. They gotten very lucky. I mean, it. Sometimes you have those years where that certain team just finds a way to win, and you don't understand how they do it, but they just do it.
Yeah.
So I think they should be ranked, but not as high as they are. But I mean, they've caught some teams at the right time and beat them.
Yep, I agree.
But I heard what you guys said about Clemson, man, and hey, my brother-in-law, man, they
got to be feeling that pressure, right?
Well, for the first time, man, he said that Dabo's feeling the pressure now.
He should be.
He felt it a little bit when Brent left, but he's really feeling it now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
he needs to be.
Norman, you better get out of that. He should be. Yeah, he look, in the end, he has refused to play the game, and now we see a year that, look, there's really no excuse for you to not. Your offense is kind of humming again, but who have we seen them do that up against up until this point? They played Georgia, they got smacked, right? And then they went through and won a bunch of games, and everybody's like, okay, well, they're back. Well, are they? And then a coach like Jeff Brom comes in, and I mean, they didn't just beat them. They whipped the shit out of them, coach.
That game was ugly.
It was an ass whooping.
I've never seen Clemson fans leave the ball game. they were leaving the ball game, and it's something that you normally don't see at a place like Clemson, that teams that the fans leave the game. But I think Dabo has to start looking at things a different way now. Those 2 national championships that you won, it looks good.
How it is, Coach. What have you done for me lately?
Hey, I was getting ready to say that. What have you done for me lately?
You don't get to live on that shit forever, though.
Well, and I tell you what, guys, this is going to fall back on the administration. Dabo can live in his, in his dreams on what he's done in the past.
Yeah.
But that's what at this point that they're dreams. I mean, because it's long gone, it's over. And so I've got to tell you that from that perspective, I think that it's critical that the administration needs to step up and turn the water off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's going to be on them.
That you got to come up with. I mean, get you a GM, do whatever it is that like the rest of the damn country is doing right now, that they have a general manager, somebody that can work on the portal and the NIL and all that kind of stuff. If you don't want to deal with it, don't. We got to get somebody in place and be proactive about it, because we're not going to let you run this fucking thing into the ground.
It's heading that way.
It is heading that way.
And I made the statement earlier, guys. You know what? They're going to go from the penthouse to the outhouse. Yeah. And literally that shit happens pretty quick.
It doesn't take long. It doesn't take long. And if you think about what Saban was, people talk about, oh yeah, he made the playoff in his last season. They snuck into the playoff in his last season.
Right.
They snuck into the playoff in his last season. And in the end, you've got to find a way to compete year after year after year. Because right now, it doesn't matter what you did 8-9 years ago. Nobody gives a shit.
Nope.
Even 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever. You got to continue doing this, because otherwise, what do they care?
And you heard me say this earlier, Jason, is, that's why Saban got out. He was smart enough to say, you know what? I don't want to do this shit this way. Mm-hmm. I don't like it. I'm not going to do it. But at the end of the day, Dabo needs to say, you know what? either I'm going to go use the portal, the NIL to our advantage, or he needs to say, you know what? It was a great ride. Everything was great. I loved coaching, but it's time for my ass to move on.
Yeah.
And he needs to do that for his players and for the school.
yeah.
For the program itself. Because
Absolutely.
And why wouldn't you? I mean, look, why are you digging your heels in on something that if you really hate it that much, then you should leave, because it's not. You said this earlier, Coach. It ain't going in reverse. We're not going back to those days. We're not. You're not unringing the bell. The NIL bell is hey, for those of you that think you're going to get any kind of legislation that's going to shut down the NIL, think again.
You can hang that shit up.
It ain't going backwards.
That train is moving forward, and it's moving at a high rate of speed.
Yeah.
Damn right.
So get either jump on or get your ass out of the way.
And that's the point. You should get out of the way at this point. And I don't know why you don't, but there's a lot of coaches out there that would love to have the, all the resources that Clemson has.
Yeah.
Because they're considerable. We know that part, right? Yeah.
Guys, you have people outside that I know for a fact, outside the administration, that want to give, that wants to do this, but the head coach is telling them this is not the way I would like to go. And it's unfortunate because, as you see, overall, everyone else is doing it and Clemson is being left behind.
Right.
Now, how long is that going to go? How long are you going to allow him to sit there and do that before you say, you know what, we're going to have to remove him? Because if this is not the way that everyone else is going up and leaving us, but we're stuck in behind because we don't want to do what everyone else is doing to be relevant, they're going to have to remove him. And
you know what?
That's unfortunate, but he should be willing to do that.
Yeah. Well, and I tell you what, if I'm the athletic director, I have Dabo in my office. I say, Dabo, okay.
Coach, you've been saying this since last year, at least.
We're at a place where, you know what? Either you need to get on the bus, on the train, or you need to get off the train. Because if you don't want to get on the train, I'm trying to let you know that you need to get off the train so you're salvaging your dignity and your successes. You can continue to enjoy your successes, because if you don't, I'm going to fire your ass.
Yeah.
And the next loss you have, if you don't sit here and agree to me today that you're willing to make that move and make that adjustment, the next loss you have, I'm firing your ass right after the game. Plain and simple.
Hey, Coach, how realistic is it that they just take it out of his hands?
Well, but you know what? They can.
Yeah.
I agree. They can take it out of his hands. But what does that create?
Exactly.
You're not going to be any better off
Nope.
if you force
you have a coach that's pissed off at you, and he's going to do everything in his power. And you know how Dabo is; he talks shit,
and he's going to try to prove
the media that way.
Oh man,
yeah, and he's going to try to prove that, you know what, we went to the portal. Look at the shitty players we got. He's going to try to prove that it doesn't work for them.
Doesn't work. Yeah.
And so I don't force him. I just tell him, you get on or get off. If not, I'm going to fire your ass.
Right. Well, and again, I feel like you don't have to be a huge part of it or whatever. I think that if you get the GM, that they can go out there and they can identify what it is that you want in a player, the kind of guy that you would have recruited. Maybe you did recruit him and didn't get him before.
Right.
Whatever, that kind of stuff. I didn't put you in the timeout bag, man. I don't know who did it, but you probably deserved it. Knowing the way you've been talking lately. But I mean, the thing is that I think that you could actually do it. You could actually do it. I mean, because I know that Brent Venables isn't a huge fan of the portal either. I think that they're selective, very selective. Now, once they get a guy that they want, They're willing to go after them and do the money, but that's why they latched onto the idea of having a general manager so quick. You go and you find those guys that you can have them identify these guys that would fit the mold, then you can say yes or no on them. But you have to actually, do it like you would do it as far as recruiting is concerned. And again, I don't know that, I mean, we don't have to continue on this for very long, but I do think that I would tell you that I think that he's working himself right out of a fucking job, because now even his apologists are saying, nah, you got to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and somebody, I guess Neelio asked what his buyout is. His buyout, $60 million.
$60 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that's why he's been able to get away with this for as long as he has.
Yep.
But I'm going to tell you guys, that question is almost becoming a moot point today. Colleges they're paying millions to these guys. You know, shit, I want to go get one of those head coaching jobs and shit in my pants, so they have to buy me out. And I you know, hell, I'll settle for $10 million. You buy out at $10 million and I'm done.
I'm done.
But my point is, $60 million ain't shit at this point.
No.
I mean, back in the day, guys, that's a lot of money. But today, they'll write your ass a check for $60 million and say, hey, thanks for everything. See you, bitch.
Hey, Coach,
and they're going to have time to pay. Well, sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. But
they'll write you that check and pat you on your ass.
Well, and it's not. Here's the thing: if anybody's gotten rich over the time of the playoff is, I mean, Clemson's been it. Right. They were in the playoff how many times? I mean, they played for 2 other championships, and they were in at least 2 more. So 6 times in the playoffs in the first 12 years.
Yeah.
Well, that's nothing for.
Well, that wasn't for me there, Bagman. If it wasn't that, then no. But yes, I went back to you on this comment that you're talking about. So it wasn't me.
Well, it's nothing for Bank of America or you know, some other billion-dollar company that's down here to just cut that check for them. That's willing to give money to Clemson.
Sure.
That I know of for a fact. So they can cut that check and be looking for someone else that's willing to do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because that train is definitely running, but he's just not on it right now. It's definitely running.
And that's like Jason said earlier, guys. I mean, you know what? It is moving, and again, the disservice that you're doing to the program. That's the thing that's doing.
Yeah, I mean, because you worked so hard to build it to what it is, and look, nobody's saying that you didn't do it. Yeah. But the truth is why would you want to be the one that's responsible for it going back into the shitter?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me.
The teams that are really against NIL are the teams that are really struggling right now, because they're refusing to spend the resources. And what I mean by resources, to pay the players. These players have made you a millionaire. These players have put you on their back and given you everything in your life. And now you mean to tell me that you are against them getting paid? Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
That's the problem I have. That's the problem I have with him in the end of it, is because I don't. If you have a problem with these players getting paid, then I have a problem with you. What the fuck? I mean, what is he getting paid? They owe him $60 million, and that's what, 5 years. So it's $12 million a year.
He's going to make. He's going to net $124 million and some change
on just the contracts that he's had at Clemson.
Crazy, man.
He was a fucking wide receiver coach when he got there.
Man. No, I mean, no, Lou. I mean, I'm just saying, man, I'm real against that shit, man. And that's the one time I really get upset, is that if I could have got paid back in the day, I'd be begging to get back in the day. Hey, I'm gonna get paid. I'm gonna do whatever. But now these guys are getting paid, and now I have to take care. I have to look at my nephew and my daughters that's in this game right now, and I'm gonna always protect them, because you're not gonna make money off my damn daughter and she don't get paid.
Exactly.
I'll be
Well,
damned.
and we've been hearing stuff. I mean, I heard stuff about stuff going on between players, parents,
Yep.
and stuff after the Georgia game.
Yep.
Didn't you hear about that too, Coach? Yeah. So there was a lot
Yep.
of there's been a lot of shit that's going on, and nobody really talks about it. I mean, they're good at keeping that in house for the most part. But look, when players and when family members don't think their kids are getting taken care of correctly, and they see that it's going on at other places, and they know for sure that if they, and believe me, they know for sure that they could get it elsewhere, because there's already people out there saying, go in the portal, we'll get it for you. You know,
Well,
go in the portal.
And again, guys, I'm going to say this. I think there's got to be a happy medium in this whole scenario, and there needs to be rules and regulations to govern NIL, because again, I can be a greedy person, and that's all I'm looking for is to make money out of the deal.
Exactly.
Which I don't have a problem with the players making money, but
It's how
prostituting yourself on how you make it, like you said, Coach, that's not a good look either. And so I think it's critical that we put NIL in a box where the players are going to make their money, but then there's also maybe some limits to what that looks like. And so I just think it's got to come together, because right now, hell, it's the wild, wild west. I mean,
hey, Coach, as a parent that's going through that, me and my daughters, we have stipulations in place before you can even touch any of that money. And what I mean by that is,
I love it.
Grades got to be good. Grades ain't good, I don't give a damn what they give you. You ain't touching it.
Exactly.
I still want you to be in the community and everything. I have my daughters, they go to food banks, food shelters, and all that, man. They feed the homeless and things like that. My oldest is a big sister to a few Girl Scouts down here, man. My youngest one, she goes to all these art classes and give art lessons to underprivileged kids. I want my girls to not be thinking about just the money. There has to be
not
something
everybody's
else.
like you, Coach.
But
not
you know what,
everybody's
Coach?
like you.
We keep talking about it takes a village to build these kids.
It does.
And when we do that, now that money's involved, we're so scared that everybody got their hand out, that we try to oversee everything. And I tell my daughters, if my mother say something, it's gospel. If my niece say something, it's gospel. If my older sister say something, it's gospel.
Right.
We as parents got to start putting stipulations in for our kids to protect them, because if I didn't get a lawyer to look over some of the things that they were signing, they would have been in a hell of trouble and everything if they even thought about deciding to go somewhere else.
Right.
But I'm gonna throw two things at you guys. Two things I'm gonna throw. Number one, we have a lot of parents that don't necessarily know to go get a lawyer.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
So there's some ignorance in there, not because they're not smart. I'm just saying there's some ignorance of how this process works.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna throw another one at you. Y'all answer this one. I'm throwing a curveball in here, okay?
All right.
So the NIL that's paid, who's it paid to?
The kid, right? The kid.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm a kid. You just paid me $1 million. Okay.
Right.
How easy is it? Like you were talking about, Coach Ricks, she doesn't get to touch it. She doesn't grades. You know what? All that kid has to do now is say, beep.
Well, you're an adult at this point, right?
Exactly.
You have to hope but not all these kids grow up that way either.
Right.
Well, the way ours is, until they graduate college, me and my wife have power of attorney.
Right. But that's you. I'm telling you.
Yeah, but how many people even know to do that, Coach?
You're going to be, Coach, you and your family are going to be probably in the 10th percentile.
If that.
And I was going to say, I started to say 1%. But
it may be closer to 1.
It's a lot, Coach, that's not like that. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
I've had some parents who are like, well, you're pretty much handicapping them. I said, how do you figure? Is that
No, I'm helping them.
My thing is, I want to do this so when if basketball or softball, which they play, is not in their future, they have this money that they can fall back on and say, hey, you got your degree, you got this money that you made. Now, at least you got a leg out on the world to where you can go do whatever you want to do.
Exactly.
Well, see, and that's great. That's great that you do have that, because you're not only are you showing them how to be responsible with the money, and you're teaching them life lessons along with it. Now, it's great but you would have done that if there was NIL there or not.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether there was NIL there or not, you're going to do that. Coach is going to do that. I would have done that with my kids in some stretcher. I mean, you would hope that you would do that. But the truth is a lot of these athletes, particularly when we start talking college football, there's a lot of these kids that don't come from that kind of a two-parent household even. Let's just call it that.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't have a pot to piss in.
That's right. And there may be a bunch of kids that, first off, are they getting any kind of guidance? I would ask you, do you think Bear Alexander has any guidance that's worth the shit?
No.
Because I don't.
No. That circle, Jason, man, is so
premier
small.
Defensive line coaches in the world at USC, because you were a second stringer when they were paying the hell out of you, had you a place on the beach and everything else, and you left that situation because you weren't a starter.
Yeah.
That's insanity.
So let me ask this, guys. Go ahead, Coach Ricks. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, man, to end this, I did that because I know how my family is. And there are certain people in your family that once one gets money, we all rich. No, we all ain't rich. These girls did all the hard work. These girls,
that's every damn family. There's got to be somebody like that.
They're going to reap the benefits. I did that because I know how people try to go back door and back channel to get to my girls to say, hey, I'm behind on this, so I need this. Can you give? First thing my girls say, you got to talk to mom and dad.
Well, Coach, I thought
talk to mom and dad about that and everything.
Coach Rich, aren't you and I like second cousins?
Yeah.
I
need a little help.
Well,
right
I mean,
now.
It's hard, then, guys. But what you guys said is definitely right. On my daughter's softball team, man, I might have met 4 dads out of a 20-girl roster. Maybe 4 dads. Rest are just moms, boyfriends, and they pretty much don't want to have a say so because they don't know and they're scared. But I had a lot of parents come tell me, does that work? And I said, it worked for me and my daughters. I said, I don't try to go and get their money, but I just want them to be able to have that money so when they're done with school, if you don't play any other sports and everything, or if you want to own your own business or whatever, you have that there. And I told my daughters, soon when you graduate and I get the paper, me and my wife will sign it right back over to you because it's yours.
Sure.
It ain't ours. I just want to make sure it's there for you when you're ready for it.
Right. And to teach them how to be responsible with it, where you can, you can teach them investing, teach them credit, teach them I mean, listen, there's a lot of things that we don't get taught in public school or even private school for that matter that they should be taught about credit and leveraging it and things like that. I think there's a reason behind that. That's a question that we don't need to get off on, but in the end, I think that the fact of the matter is, and where we were going with this to begin with, is that this NIL, first off, and I heard what you guys were talking about, we have to put some parameters on it. What you can parameter out, and this is what should have been done a long time ago, is that there's got to be actual rev share which comes from your TV money, that kind of stuff. That's where you can control. The NIL stuff, you're never going to be able to control that because that's that should be endorsements or whatever, right? But I was talking to somebody earlier today, and we were talking about how people want to see you have some kind of, and there's always a contract with that too. I mean, you have to fulfill certain obligations in order to get that money, right? But there's always going to be you can abuse that, and schools will abuse it. You can bet your ass, because there's going to be a cap concerned with, whatever the revenue share ends up being. They're talking about 20 million a year right now for players is going to, that's the number they're talking about. Right. Well, there's some schools that's going to be fine, especially SEC, Big Ten schools. Yeah, that's no big deal. But for, say, 20 million for Kansas State, for instance, Kansas State makes about 100. They make about 100 million, but they spend about 90 at this point to travel and do everything that they got to do. Their athletic budget is $90 million, so they're making 10 on the end of it. Well, now if you have to take 20 of that 100 million that you make and give that to your players, now you're 10 million in the hole. Whereas Oklahoma or Alabama or Texas, and Texas A&M, Notre Dame, they don't have that problem. They're getting 100 million a year. So, I mean, this is where you're going to have that's going to come into it. And then in the end, the NIL stuff it should be what it is. But I was saying that I was telling that friend of mine, I'm starting to wonder how often, say like an endorsement doesn't come from the NFL franchise too. You know what I mean? That they have this set up to where, we're going to sign you. And so, for instance, Tom Brady, right? He did all those, quote, team-friendly deals, right? Well, why did he do that? Well, the owner of the fucking Patriots owns Gillette.
Sure.
He can push off endorsements on him for all this other shit too. They can go about that. I mean, they can do that kind of stuff. Just not coaches that don't always get the same amount of money or whatever as somebody else, but then they got this big coaches show that they get a shit ton of money for, or a shoe deal that they get a bunch of money for too, right?
Yeah.
It's the same kind of stuff. And so I feel like there's a lot of things that we don't really know. One thing I do know is that in the end, you got to play the damn game. If you want to be a player at the highest level of college sports, whether it's football or basketball or tiddlywinks, get ready to play the game. And if you're not going to do it, like Dabo apparently doesn't want to do it, then get the fuck out of the way. We'll give you that you brought this program to this point. Now you're becoming a liability. You got to go. We invested in you to do the job. You were doing the job. Now you're not doing the job. I don't think it's that hard.
Yep. No,
it's not.
So, that like button needs it. Hit it. We've had 300 people in here.
We all, yeah. This is something, man, that some people need to hear. And I've learned that, man, on this podcast, on certain podcasts, that sometimes, man, people say some things that it registers to you. Take that shit, man, and store it in your brain, because trust me, man, some knowledge, man, that you don't know will definitely help you later on, man. So maybe what I say can help somebody else down the road and everything, man, because that's something that needs to be done, because these kids are getting too much money at a young age and they're just burning through it and don't have a leg to stand on afterwards.
No, that's right.
Caden Green stuff. We'll get into that in a little bit too. But hey, let's talk about this other stuff. I got this audio I want you guys to hear. Are you guys good on the rest of the CFP? Is going to obviously be around. We got a few weeks before we figure out what's going to happen. There's a lot of games to be played. We can kind of work on handicapping it here over the next few weeks, but let's talk about some of this other stuff.
Hey, put it back up there though. I'd like to hear Coach Rick's take on some of that.
Okay. Who do you like?
What's up?
Let's see, where are we at on it? Let's see. Let me make sure where I'm at. Did you see the first rankings for the top 25? Oh shit.
No, man. I had those 300 kids tonight, man, and I was out to them when I came back home. So I haven't seen any.
So Oregon and no surprise, Oregon, Ohio State, Georgia in the top 3. Some people would probably say Georgia goes to 2. I don't think it really matters at this point. They're still in that top 3 range. Miami, Texas, Penn State, Tennessee, Indiana would be my first real question as far as whether I think that they're a top 10 team. I don't. BYU, I don't know that they are necessarily either. I certainly think Notre Dame's better than both of those teams. Alabama, I say, is better than both of those teams.
I would have Notre Dame number 8. I would have Notre Dame. And they can sit there and say what they want to say about a one-loss team.
Yeah.
But even though that loss was egregious, they are playing better football right now.
But they were coming off of a big game, though, too.
But guys, that's what I'm excited about right now. We're peaking at the right time.
Yeah.
And everybody remembers that we shut down our leg against, in IU. And again, I'm kind of glad that it's kind of played out that way. Now, I wasn't thinking that way in week 2. I thought after week 2, I was thinking,
you think people overlook you and stuff once it gets down to that time. Yeah.
Yes.
Here's the thing, Coach. Here's the thing. If you put Notre Dame on a neutral field against either one of these 2 teams, who wins?
Yeah, there's no doubt.
That's why I would have them at number 8 and this is the 9. If we're going to start looking at ball games, if we're watching ball games instead of just saying,
I think they're better than Penn State. I think they're better than Penn State. I think they probably are better than Texas and Miami, for that matter.
Miami's just been fortunate enough to have the ACC.
They're fortunate that they have Cam Ward. That's a fucking
he's Caleb Williams 2.0.
He is.
But you know what, Coach Rich, what we were talking about earlier, Jason and I, is I'd love to play Miami, and just let us get in the bracket, and if we ended up there playing them later in the bracket, man, that would be for them or Penn State. I'd like to catch either of them.
Yeah. The only thing about Penn State is that they do play physical. Now it turns into, can you score? And then you probably still love a game against Penn State, because I like Colton Ecke and I like what they're doing. They don't have very great skill guys. They don't have that electric running back. They don't have a receiver that is going to do a whole lot. I think that's why they're not beating Ohio State. It really doesn't have anything to do with anything, but they don't have playmakers. That's their problem at this point.
Yeah,
that's my opinion anyway. I certainly think Boise State, I love their running back situation. I don't know that I think that they're definitely the best G6 team at this moment. But I don't think they're not one of those teams that's going to win anything when they get there. I don't know that BYU is either. Now, I do like BYU, and I think that they've got one of the best coaches in the country. I think Kalani Sitake is one of the best there is.
We thought this was going to happen a year ago, didn't we?
They were picked to finish last in the Big 12.
But Jason and I thought this was going to happen last year with BYU.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. If he starts to continue to do this, does he get a better job? And is he willing to take that better job?
Now, he went to BYU, so that's a question.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a good question.
But I also would tell you that he needs to win this game this weekend, because they haven't been very good in the Holy War game when they've had it.
Yeah,
they haven't been great in. And in fact, I think the last 10 games, 9 of them have went to Utah.
But Utah's horrible, guys.
They're down right now.
Utah's bad. Now, I actually like their quarterback. He's a freshman, but I like him.
Where's the game at? Where's it at?
That's a good question. Let's look.
If it's in BYU, that's a whole different story.
Sure, absolutely.
If it's,
I believe it is.
It's that Proto and everything. It's a different ball game.
It's at Utah. It's in Salt Lake.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's at Utah. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, if you're winning 9 out of 10, that means you were winning both places.
Yeah.
So I listen, and Whittingham. Look, if we're talking about who's who. And Sitake actually coached at Utah with Whittingham. He's responsible for him and what he's done. So I think that they know a lot about each other. That nobody knows each other better than those two, So the hell, they're 10, 15 minutes apart or 20 minutes apart, whatever it is. Anyway, so there's a lot of bad blood in this one. But I can't wait to see this. And we're going to try to get. I'm going to see if I can get Bomber on in the morning to talk a little bit about that as well. But yeah, I think the Big 12 is it's up for grabs, but it's a I think that I love this 12-team playoff. What we'll do is that as we get off of this, how I put it is this. The thing that I'm liking about this new playoff is that we were thinking that this was going to make the regular season less important. I don't think that's the case at all. I think that it's become more important than it was for sure with the 14 playoff, and because these teams right now are jockeying for position. And if you're in the Big 12 and let's say you might get 2 spots, but only if the ACC is not going to get 2 spots, because right now the SEC and the Big 10 want to make sure that they're trying to get 8.
Yep.
They're trying to get 8. If they don't get 8, they're liable to take their ball and go do their own shit. They're talking about that. I mean, this is real. So, and I'm not saying I love that, because I don't. I don't love that. I don't want to see that. I definitely don't want to see it go to that either. But I think that right now they're looking at it in terms of, we've got the leverage to do this. We're going to make sure that we keep our conferences strong. And I don't necessarily blame them for that. But I don't love where we've headed with college football, that it's so much more about money and all that stuff than it's been about anything else. That kind of sucks. Let's talk about something funny.
So
I've got a something I want you guys to see. We got a video here. It's not really a video, it's audio. So let me see.
Coach, you got some of that go-go in that some go-go juice in there?
This place has had
just
tremendous success for 18 and a half years or 9.
All right, hold on just a second. Let me fix this to where that looks like hell.
We don't care as long as we can hear it.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's an ugly bastard anyway.
That he is.
He's 40.
He is. He's in his he's damn near 60 now.
Yeah,
it's time for him to stop saying that 40 shit. All right, here we go. All right, so they were talking to him about all the negativity for them. If you didn't know, they went to 0-5 in Big 12 play this past weekend. Now, mind you, that they came in with 20 of 22 returning starters from the team that played in the Big 12 championship game a year ago. Obviously, one of the Heisman favorites in Ollie Gordon, and yeah, they are now 3-5 overall, 0-5 in the conference. So yeah, here we go.
19, I can't do the math real good, and so unfortunately in life, most people are weak, and as soon as things start to not go as good as what they thought, they fall apart and they panic. And then they want to point the finger and blame other people. That you see it happen in everyday life. People do it all the time. That's why I refuse to watch the TV and watch the news, because I get tired of people complaining and bitching about this and that versus just doing something about it and trying to figure out a way to make it better. Well, that's what happens in college athletics. And as Jenny said, she's exactly right. It's just on the bigger stage where people can voice their opinion. And in most cases, the people that are negative and voicing their opinion are the same ones that can't pay their own bills. They're not taking care of themselves. They're not taking care of their own family. They're not taking care of their own job, but they have an obligation to speak out and complain about others because it makes them feel better. But then in the end, when they go to bed at night, they're the same failure that they were before they said anything negative about anybody.
What the fuck does that got to do with you winning ball games?
He's calling OSU fans failures and poor people that can't pay their fucking bills because they're pissed off and want his ass to get it together. I got to say this. I love that Oklahoma State sucks. I'll just let you know. This fucking makes my heart
I would never have guessed that, my brother.
It makes my fucking heart warm. We know this. But I'll tell you this, and Cody Light, we love Cody Light. He's a little wild. He's a little crazy. Sometimes he irritates the shit out of us too, because he's a fucking Okie Light fan. It is what it is. But I'll tell you something. One thing that I'll always have respect for when it comes to Okie Light fans is that they fucking love their football program.
Yep.
When you ask them to show up and show out for their football program, they do it.
They do.
Not only is he biting the hand that these people are the reason that fucking mediocre piece of shit still has a fucking job, because there is no other program in the country where that guy would still have his job after 19 years, losing 14, 15 games against Oklahoma, your biggest rival. What other place in the world would you make it to? Look, if Brent Venables has lost 2 out of 3 to Texas, and they're ready to walk his ass out the door.
Yeah. Damn. I can't believe he said that shit, man. Damn. That's career suicide.
It's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. And I'll tell you, it shouldn't surprise anybody because the guy's a dipshit. There's no two ways around it. Coach and I are responsible for his big mouth from last year. We started that whole fucking thing.
Damn.
Yeah.
The whole thing. Got him bitching and talking shit about Oklahoma. But in the end, I'll just say this. Look, the guy ought to be gone.
Yeah.
Because earlier this year he was talking about, if you bitch and complain, you're the reason that our recruiting isn't really good right now. We all know that he's the laziest fucking recruiter in the Big 12.
Like doing shit.
They got all that money from Boone Pickens. They've got money to play the NIL game. They've got money to do. They've got probably the best facilities in the Big 12. I mean, some of their facilities are much nicer than Oklahoma's because of T. Boone Pickens. And this guy has excuse after excuse. And now he's attacking the people that are keeping him there. Unfucking believable, man.
You know what I think about OSU football? I don't give a shit about OSU football. And I give even less of a shit about Mike Gundy. Mediocre fucking Mike Gundy.
And he's not even pulling off mediocre right now, Coach.
He's terrible. He's terrible right now. 0-5 in the in the Big 12.
They may not win another one. Look, they just got boat raced at home on homecoming by Arizona State. They got 42-21.
How much shit did we hear about even some of our good friends?
I know.
OSU, they should win the conference this year because you know what? We're that good, and we played in the conference championship last year, and OU and Texas are gone, and guess what? We're going to run this son of a bitch.
I'm pulling
down.
those fucking receipts. Promise you that. Those receipts are held and will be pulled. Believe that. Chris Griffin, Chris, you know where you're at.
What's the guy? The guy that did the podcast about the cow? Mike Gundy hitting the cow. That's the same guy.
Mm-hmm. Okie Light, yeah.
And then
look, he did his. This is the thing. The fucker's been mailing it in for a long time. We all know that. He was talking about that last year, that he had to stop working on the fucking ranch and come in and take care of his damn coach, that he couldn't trust him to run the fucking right thing. Once he came in and gave it his all, then they flipped it around. Well, what it really was is that Ollie Gordon was getting the damn football. Now Ollie Gordon can't even save their asses.
No.
But he's falling right back into the same thing. And I don't know if they're going to fire him or not, and it sounds like they may not. But when there's guys out there,
I hope they don't. I hope they don't.
I hope they don't too. But I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. If they don't, they get exactly what they deserve, because you're going to sit there and, like we just talked about with Dabo, you're going to just run this motherfucker into the ground. Whatever good that you've done for OSU as a program, you're going to run it into the ground until they finally have the balls to fire you, and they gave you a damn lifetime deal.
Hey, I am going to say this, though. Don't compare those two motherfuckers. There ain't no comparison in
one's
Dabo
yeah,
and Gundy.
That's
You
true.
know, shit, one is one.
Well, 1-1 as long as Coach Venables was there.
Well, not national championships.
That's true.
That's crazy as
That's
hell,
true.
man.
Look, I'll just tell you, man. Love the posters who passed the Big 12 keys onto the Utahs and OSUs of the conference. Bullshit. Yeah, listen, I thought that Utah would come in and do well. That was expecting Cam to come in and do his thing, right? He's obviously still not in good shape. He's probably, I mean, we're talking about it at this point. You have to expect that Cam's probably going to get a medical retirement at this point. I don't even see him going and playing any further. He's in trouble. But Coach Witt is definitely one of the best coaches, not just in the Big 12. He's one of the best coaches in the country. They're having a down year. I'm not counting them out moving forward. Now, as far as K-State is concerned, I think that K-State is right on their – I mean, I don't know that I had them picked to win it. It doesn't look like they're gonna at this point. They still could, but it doesn't look like they are. I like Iowa State. I don't love CU to win it, but I think CU, as far as offense is concerned, they can give everybody the biggest problem right now.
Yeah.
Offensively.
Yeah.
Defensively, it's BYU apparently.
Yeah.
But
Shit,
and
I
everybody
love-
had them picked to finish last. I think that shit's hilarious.
That's hilarious. That would be the best story is them winning it.
I think it'll be BYU or Iowa State.
Yeah, Iowa State just got beat by Texas Tech this weekend at home. So a
Who's the
little
next
shake in
game?
the foundation. Little shake in the foundation right there.
Was it overlooking them? Because what they got next?
23-22. This week, this is what you got.
Iowa State.
You've got Oklahoma State probably going to go to 0-6. They're on the road at TCU. Now, TCU is kind of shitty. So if you're going to win one, yeah, but you suck too. So yeah, they're going to lose that one. That's 0-6. BYU at Utah, Colorado at Texas Tech. Coach, we ought to try to get to that one. It may be one of the hardest fucking tickets in the world to get though. West Virginia at Cincy, Iowa State at Kansas. So the big dogs ought to do their thing this weekend. Colorado at Tech. I mean, look, you're definitely not going to get Colorado overlooking them because of the fact that they beat Iowa State.
Hey, Jason, I'd love to go, but I got to tell you the reason I can't. I got a grandson playing in the Super Bowl, baby.
This weekend, Saturday
in Kermit, Texas.
Congratulations.
Nice. In Kermit? Holy shit, man.
Playing Kermit in Kermit.
Good stuff. That's funny.
There you go.
Yeah. The conference is definitely up for grabs right now. Yeah, no doubt, Julio. I think that it is what it is. But they did get kind of punked at home.
Yeah,
and K-State, that was it's a great conference. It's a fun conference to watch. You know, as much as we like to talk shit about them because, you know, obviously being onto the SEC. But I mean, look, I don't know about anybody else that's an Oklahoma fan, but I have a hard time. Look, we've been Big 12 forever.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to say this, guys.
We live in Big 12 country. So go ahead.
I'm just going to say this. I'm not a fan of the Big 12 since OU and Texas left. I think when those two teams left, I personally, this is my personal opinion.
Stop watching it.
I think it's a shit conference.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good conference.
Well,
and you know what?
I think
Anybody
there's
can
some good
beat
coaches
anybody.
in the conference, though. There's some really good coaches in the conference, Coach. You would say that.
Well, it's good coaches now because there's no good teams. I mean, you got to get the good coaches there because they don't think about it, Jason. If you say
K-State's pretty fucking good, though, man.
Marquee games in the Big 12, who is it?
Colorado right now. Because of Coach Prime, for sure.
Exactly. Coaches.
That's a marquee game no matter what.
Coaches are making the league better, not teams. So just the coaches.
Well, and I think that's their problem is they don't have they don't have a team that can be their or a program that can be their identity. Two programs that are going to like step up and be always in the playoff, maybe making a push because as long as Oklahoma and Texas were there, and now obviously Oklahoma went to a bunch of playoffs, but they got beat every time. But Texas went to one in the 14 playoff era. They lost their only game. And I would tell you that, well, yeah, Pac-12 never did, but the Pac-12 is no longer. They don't matter at this point.
No.
But what I would tell you is that you don't have the problem with the Big 12 is you don't have that program that you can say, okay, if they win their conference, and they will 4 out of every 5 years, one of these two teams, they can go win the national championship theoretically, right? You don't have that big time recruiting team. You haven't seen that yet. And so that's the concern. Go ahead.
And I'm going to tell you, you know, we always talk about Notre Dame going into the conference. Shit, if we were going to go into the conference, hell, I'd like to go to the Big 12.
Yep, you can run it.
Yeah.
That'd be a great conference to be in for us.
Yes, because that's if you're going to do that, because they can work that out to continue doing things the way they want to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why when we start talking about Florida State and Clemson trying to get out of the ACC, I think it's the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah.
I think it's the dumbest thing ever, because what you can do, and what they should have done was been like, they should have just pushed the pay us more thing, because we make more money for you. And then that way they know that they're 9 times out of 10, they're going to get that playoff spot.
Yeah.
Right. And they have the ability to recruit on the level that should be able to win. Now, we haven't seen that from Florida State for whatever reason. They decided they were going to be heavy portal, and look at what that did to them, by the way. When it blew up, because they're 1-7, 1-8, something like that. Unbelievable. Anyway, I just thought let's go back to Gundy on this stuff for a second. What in the fuck? Where do you get it? This is how much they put this fucking clown on a pedestal, to the point that he thinks that that's the fucking answer you come up with.
Hey man, when you don't have nothing to say, you just make up shit. and
that's what he does. Yeah.
Neilio, is that facetious? Like, yeah, bring them on.
Hey, we don't give a shit who we play.
Yeah.
You know, as I always say, little ones bunch up, big ones line up. Bring it on, motherfuckers.
There you go.
There we go. There's a coachism right there. Coachism. Little ones bunch up, big ones line up. Let's go, motherfuckers. Let's go. KSU has OC issues. That offense has troubles. That's bullshit. I don't buy that, C. John. I don't agree with that at all. I agree with the last part. CU is real. They're the real deal. They're keeping that quarterback upright. And upright, they have enough weapons to kick your fucking ass.
They have
whoever you may be.
Everywhere.
Big Phil's doing his job as offensive line coach. Their defense isn't good, but neither is anybody else's.
Back to my point.
Yeah, that's all right. Hey, he was being one too. So was Coach. That's funny shit too.
I still love you, Neilio.
Oh yeah, everybody's always talking shit to Coach about them fucking Irish, man. I'll tell you this: I like the Irish more than I like a lot of those teams that are in the top 12. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Oh yeah.
Because of the fact that they are so. What I like about Notre Dame is their physicality. They're able to play a physical brand of football that not a lot of teams in the country are playing.
Yeah.
That's why they're going to line up and beat the shit out of USC in a few weeks, because they're soft as baby shit still.
You know, when we were, if you remember back in that week 2, we were ranked number 5 in the country. So if we wouldn't have lost that week 2 game, where would we be sitting right now?
Probably second, first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First or second for sure, because the only
We
undefeated
definitely
team
be in the
really
top
left
3.
is, yeah, well, the only undefeated team left is Oregon, right?
Yeah, that's it.
As far as in the top 5. Now Indiana's at number 8,
Right,
because they're undefeated, but they're at number 8 undefeated.
But you got Georgia 7-1 and Ohio State 7-1. Well, you got Miami at number 4 at 9-0.
Yeah, they're undefeated also, but they've played a shit schedule.
Yeah.
And struggled with it at times. You know, they've caught breaks.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know, man.
But I like the shit talking. I love it when y'all talk shit to me.
Well, the one thing I would say, like Oklahoma fans, you know, we can talk shit right now, but damn, you know, we were talking about the parity right now. This is why you feel really bad if you're an OU fan, because fuck, all you had to do was be serviceable on offense.
Yeah.
And you're right there.
You're right there.
Yeah. And you know, Jason, that's the conversations we have had over and over and over, is the similarities between Notre Dame and OU were so much the same.
Mm-hmm.
And they've just gone in different directions. But y'all ought to be right there in the hunt with us.
Well, what you've seen in the last 2 weeks with Oklahoma, though, is that apparently Joe John knew what the fuck he was doing. It was Seth that didn't, because once they got Seth gone, now they look like they're back in the direction of, he was Levy's right-hand man. He runs Levy's offense. The Oklahoma guys are used to that offense. It looks like they have a plan in place each week. And so it at least looks like, now look, we're going to find out when they get back into it this weekend against Missouri, which we don't think much of Missouri. I haven't yet. But I would tell you, I think Oklahoma can play spoiler in the next few weeks. Now, I'm not telling you that they're going to win out. I'm not crazy. They can play spoiler if they just, because the defense is still lighting it up. There's right now, they have the stop rate finally came out. That's that ranking. They're doing the rankings and stuff of those defenses that can shut people down. And Notre Dame's in the top, I think they're top 5 or 6 in the stop rate. In fact, I had it here. Let me read it out.
I love you, Neilio. You're hilarious.
What did I do with that? Oh, I know where it's at. Axles and stop rate. Okay, yeah. So Tennessee. So stop rate is the number of times that you basically. I like it because it's not an advanced stat, but it is basically saying this is the amount of times that teams score when they go up against your defense. Well, number 1 in the country is Tennessee. 2 is Army. You know, that's why you know that whether or not the advanced metric doesn't really work on this one, because
that's a falsehood.
You're not playing the same teams. Texas is number 3. I think that's part of the reason. They've got a good defense, but I don't think it's the 3rd best in the country by any stretch. But Notre Dame's number 4 there, 80%. Everybody's at 80% in those top 4. You got Tennessee at 80.5, Army's at 80.3, Texas at 80.2. Then Notre Dame's at 80%. Giving up only about 1 point per drive. Ohio State, James Madison, Iowa State, Indiana, Alabama, Ole Miss round out the top 10. Oklahoma comes in at 17th in the country in stop rate at 71.3%. And I would tell you they would probably be better if their fucking offense had been worth a shit.
Yep. Agreed.
You know? So that's where I agree with you. When you say that there's so many similarities, I think you're right. And the thing that's hurt Notre Dame coming into this season is the offensive. They haven't done shit offensively, couldn't throw the ball. They've had a good running game, but if you're one-dimensional, that doesn't work in certain games. You can't be one-dimensional. So, look, I don't know. I just see at least direction. They're headed in the right direction offensively. Now, they're not keeping Joe John around. I can guarantee you that that's probably not going to happen. I don't even know that they should. unless they were to win out and like average 40 over the next 4 weeks.
Right.
Or 3 weeks, I should say. Do I expect that? No, but they could be better, right? They could be better, but we'll see, man. We'll see kind of what happens there. But in the end, it's just, man, this stop. It sucks as an OU fan to know that, man, as good as this defense is,
The offense just didn't.
son of a bitch, all the injuries, all the silly shit going on with the coordinators, and obviously, you know, but again, this is where Bagman will tell you that I'm kind of going against him on some of this stuff, but I kind of agree. If you guys read my column, what I said last week was what? Look, you got to be decisive if you're Brent Venables. You've got to be willing to do what it takes as a head coach and get it done. You've got to be able to step in and stop the bullshit that was going on in that locker room before you, as you know, much quicker than what he went.
Yeah.
At the very least, he should have gotten rid of that son of a bitch after the damn Red River game that I sat at and cooked out there at. Because it sucked. And he didn't pull the trigger even then. It literally took going and getting. Now we're talking about South Carolina's good. No, damn it. They've gotten cotton breaks and went up against ridiculous shit, you know?
Yeah.
Appreciate it, C. John. Thanks for coming in. But look, you still do. Now, what I would say is that he did make the decision. And I think that he knows what's expected. And he, at this point, he's in hot water. He's in that situation where now you got to make a hire that makes an instant impact for this offense. An instant impact. Because if you don't, you're in trouble. Now, I'm not going to be the dude to tell you to get rid of Bill Bedenbaugh. I think it's the dumbest fucking narrative out there. I do. I think it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. I'm not telling you, here's the thing. If I'm Brent Venables and an OC wants to get rid of Bill Bedenbaugh, I tell him he's not getting the job.
Nope. You can't let him go.
I'd get rid of his ass.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you get rid of your offensive line coach?
No.
Or would you want to get rid of Freeman? You wanted to get rid of that son of a bitch?
You guys know I'm teasing.
I do.
I think, and I'm teasing because it's a ridiculous thing to even discuss.
It's the dumbest shit in the world. But he does have to have, I think the fact that for whatever reason, and look, here's the other thing. I'm going to tell you this. I'm not positive that there wasn't some kind of influence from the outside that said that you had to hire Seth Luttrell. There very well could have been.
Didn't think about that.
Now, and the only reason I bring that up is I've heard it a few times. Now, whether or not that's true or not, I'm not positive. Don't get me wrong. A lot of shit gets said. We know that. But I will say that it should have happened faster. And for whatever reason, you still, if it lands in your lap if you're Brent Venables, because what, right or wrong, the narrative out there is that you mailed it in.
Yep.
You mailed the hire in. And I said it in the column. You didn't make the hire that is befitting an Oklahoma team that is dedicated to being elite on offense.
Yep.
That has been elite on offense. Expects to be elite on offense. That wasn't the hire he made. And that's the concern to me. That's my issue. So now he has to. Otherwise, but I would tell you this, if you fucking fire this guy, let me tell you, these recruiting classes that you've got are gone.
Gone.
They're gone. These defensive studs are out the door. Bill Bedenbaugh's
some of
gone.
those guys up.
Shit, think about that. David Stone. Look, Stoney's starting to look the part, right? Jaden Jackson's been looking the part.
Yep.
Eli Bowen, true freshman, looks the part. Boganowski, Powers, these guys have raised the floor on the defensive side of the football. Not the ceiling, the floor. There's guys that were starters early in their career. I'm going to say, if Danny Stutzman wouldn't get recruited to this football team anymore. And that's not a knock on Danny. That's telling you that he wouldn't have made the cut under a Venables team. He didn't get recruited by Venables. He's from Florida. You know, he came to Oklahoma instead. That's what I'm saying. You wouldn't see that. You wouldn't see Ethan Downs. Now, that gives you a real look into who they are as players and how hard that they've worked to get to who they are. They're unbelievably good. Again, there's no shade on Danny. But the guys they got coming in are guys like Danny Okoye and you know, Peyton Bowen, and I mean, these dudes are, Samuel Ostigo is such a stud ass athlete. Wait till he gets it going in his brain about exactly what he's supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
He's ungodly athletic.
He's just running around right now. The floor
has been raised, ladies and gentlemen. And if you get rid of these guys because he hasn't hit your mark for timing 3 years, because we're impatient, you force that to happen, you're going to wish you hadn't, because you're going to lose the entire team, and then it's going to take minimum another 3 years for the next guy to come in here and get the guys. And not only that, though, because you hadn't won in 3 years or more before that, now the narrative's out there that Oklahoma sucks now. They really are Nebraska. So the recruiting gets tougher.
I think you ought
to fire somebody, man. It's the wrong time to fire somebody. Go ahead, Coach.
I think y'all ought to get rid of Bede and Bo just like you got rid of your quarterback.
They didn't get rid of fucking you can knock that shit off, because they did not get rid of Dylan Gabriel.
I just poking at you a little bit, brother.
you know.
Hey, but they didn't get rid of him. But I tell you what, y'all were unmerciful on him as fans.
Oh. No doubt. There's a segment of people that were unmerciful on him for sure.
Yeah. And that,
for
and
sure.
That
you know that wasn't me. You know that wasn't me.
You supported him, but that drove him out of there. And look what he's doing right now.
Lebby leaving. He wasn't staying without Jeff Lebby.
Yeah.
He came because of Jeff Lebby.
Well, let's not get into all that.
Yeah, you don't. Sooner Cowboys, you don't get to make that decision either. That's the point I'm trying to make. But he should have at least made it by 5 years. I guess you could probably say, if you were really gonna. That's a fair assessment of you need to make a playoff run in the 12-team league. With the way that they're recruiting, you should make a playoff run in that amount of time for sure. But again, things happen, and all I'm going to tell you is who recruits better than this guy, honestly. So don't give me the 5-star bullshit in the recruiting rankings. Who really recruits better than this guy defensively? Because there isn't anyone.
But let me. I got a question for you, Sooner Cowboy. So, how many teams are playing in that college football playoff consistently? Can you give me those stats?
You know who they are.
It's a handful. It's a handful.
It's not even a handful. It's about 4.
So it's kind of hard to make that statement, and I understand where you're coming from.
Look, it's a blue blood making that statement of we want to fucking win. Yeah.
Right. But again, be realistic and look at the statistics of what that looks like. And again, we're talking, like you said, you're talking about 4 teams.
Well, okay. And Sooner Cowboys, and to piggyback off of what you just said, year 5 experienced team, all BV guys. Agreed. What if you have a year like you had in year 3, where all your badass experienced guys, as far as skill guys, are hurt? Because
take that into consideration.
These are things. There are things that could happen, and you have to look at it. You can't just look at it in black and white. You just can't do it. You just can't do it. So, I mean, in the end, the freshmen will be juniors. Yeah, I get it. And there's going to be better players that they're recruiting better players right now. They're recruiting better players right now. The point is, though, listen, Sooner Cowboys, if you fire these guys, who really recruits better?
Nobody.
I know right now people are acting like they don't have good enough players. That's bullshit, and you know it is. You have inexperienced players that are 4 stars, and you have a lot of freshmen, and then you got a bunch of guys on the shelf. So the people that are trying to act like, no, stop it. Stop it. If you're talking about this, why is it that that's only on one side of the football? Because if you had a strength and conditioning problem, it would be you'd have the same shit going on both sides of the field.
Sooner Cowboy, I'm going to tell you this right now. We have one of the best strength coaches in the country at Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best.
So is OU.
Exactly. But my point is, you need to go see how many injured players we've had this season that are out for the season. That has nothing to do with the strength and conditioning program.
Fucking injuries happen as football.
It's a violent friggin' game, and injuries are going to happen. Some years less than others, but you know what? There's years you have a rash of injuries. I mean, we're playing with our third team defensive end. We're playing with freshmen on the offensive line, freshmen in the secondary. I didn't say redshirt freshmen. I said freshmen, freshmen.
Yeah.
That shit happens.
Yeah. Satterfield, don't do this either. Look, guys,
you can't blame the strength and conditioning.
The medical staff, man, is a third-party company, so they have nothing to do with that. They have nothing to do with that.
Look, this is that grass for straws thing. There's injuries. I get it, man. I get it. And I'll tell you something. If you want to say the medical staff should be looked at, they're looking at them. You can bet your ass they're looking at them. If there is an issue there, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to tell you there's not. But let's say there is one. If there's an issue there, they'll uncover it and fix it. If it's because they're not allowing them to come back because of an injury and you think that they should be healthy enough to go back, think again. That shit it will never work.
You don't think they get second opinions?
Third opinions.
They do get second opinions. As a matter of fact. And sometimes players have the ability to go and get their own doctor too for some of these things that happen. They don't have to go with the medical staff. And
I'm sorry, I'm going to piss some of y'all off, which I have the tendency to do anyway. But those are asinine fucking excuses. Look, and excuses are like assholes. Everybody's got one, and they all stink. Quit making excuses and put your friggin' time into finding ways to support instead of attacking. And that'll help a lot more.
Marcus is saying it right here. This is Isaiah Autry-Dent's dad, Marcus. Marcus Dent. You've been on with him. He's awesome. Love this guy.
Yep.
And he says people are blindfolded by the truth.
Yeah.
Look, you
brother.
Some people have to have somebody to blame. I don't get it. Look, I like the Sooner Surge guys. They make me laugh, dude. They make me laugh. They're hilarious. They're always screaming at each other and shit. It's funny. Watching twins yell at each other is hilarious. Okay. Call me a sunshine pumper if you want to. I can tell you that, yes, did we have higher expectations for this year? Sure. We also didn't think that you were going to have the amount of injuries that you had. And truth to be told, yeah, Seth was a fucking shitstorm. Okay. If I have a question and I have a concern, which I do have some, my concerns are with BV himself because I don't know that he moves fast enough sometimes. Okay. I think that you have to be willing to step on somebody's throat immediately if you need to. And I don't know that he's ever going to. And I think that what's happened with the quarterback situation, thank you, Seth Luttrell, is that now quarterback U is being looked at as what the fuck are they doing with quarterback U? That's a problem. I told you guys I don't think that Jackson Arnold comes back, and I don't think that Jackson Arnold comes back.
And I'm going to say this again. I attribute, I'm not saying all of it, but I attribute that to a lot of the fans and the shit they talk about.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, look, we know this. They didn't, and this blows me away, but Kevin John's quarterback coach now, he wasn't the quarterback coach then. When all this, they weren't using a quarterback coach. It was Seth Luttrell, who's not a quarterback, never been a quarterback coach before. And all of a sudden, he's the quarterback coach. And we've heard things out of the program that said, from players in the program, this is getting whispered about, the quarterbacks in the program, multiple, that said that they hadn't gotten any kind of, they just weren't being developed at all the whole year. So there was a problem, but that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing for your program when you're trying to recruit those kind of guys, which is why he needs to hit a home run with the next hire.
Yep.
And why he should have worked weeks earlier, should have fired Seth Luttrell. That's the issue I got. You want to know where I'm worried about is that you got to be willing to be just called coach, not he's a defensive guru. You got to just be coach.
Yeah.
And some of those guys don't do it. But recruiting wise, I'm willing to give him some rope. I'm willing to give him more time because of where they are, and not only just the recruiting, but it's the recruiting and the way that they recruit. They don't recruit just on money. They're recruiting on the sole mission and getting the right guys in there and building the right character within the program.
And you know what? BV again has been in the learning stages of becoming a head coach.
Facts.
I truly believe that BV will end up being a great head football coach. There's a learning curve, guys. And I'm telling you what, if you hadn't walked in those shoes, shut the hell up.
Yes,
I'm telling you. Yeah, and Coach, you know, it's a damn monster. Mm-hmm. It's a monster. We think it, I coached high school football, some college, but majority of my time was a head coach at the high school level. Largest schools in the state of Texas, which there's some pressure there.
Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to tell you what.
You played in shit.
And that's just at the high school level. You take that another notch at the collegiate level in a blue blood program. I'm going to tell you something, guys. There's a learning curve. I don't give a shit who you are.
Mm-hmm.
When you're coming in, I don't care how good a coach you are. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I think he's going to be just fine. And one more thing I just want to mention is, what was it Sooner Cowboy said? Used to be no defense. You're always going to, and at least that's a factual statement.
Right.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? At least that's a factual statement. But some of the bullshit we say is, wow. But anyway.
Coach, let me ask you a question since you won't hear, and you would know. And I've asked this question to Jason in the past. In your opinion, what is easier to coach, offense or defense?
Oh, you know what? For me, I was always a defensive coach. Mm-hmm. But in my opinion, Coach, that's a tough question because I start thinking about a lot of things.
Yeah.
But the thing that I'll go back to just fundamentally, offensively, at least you know what the hell you're doing.
Bingo.
Defensively, you're trying to figure out what the hell the other side's doing.
I would
say offensively easier.
I was telling someone
not only that, all the rules are getting changed in favor of offense.
Your favor off. I told the guy that, man, and he was like, no. I said, man, look, it's easier to call offense because I know exactly what I'm going to do. I know exactly where I'm going to go. And it's all about mismatch. Defense, if you're in a cover two and then you have to switch to a base defense or go to a cover one. If you don't have the right personnel in, that's shit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was telling this guy, he just swear up and down that no, defense is easier because I said, dude, if you have a base defense, but they have all skill guys out there and you have a base defense, your horses can't run with his horses that he has in there.
No.
And it's just like telling somebody something and they think they know more than you, but they haven't done any coaching. And I'm like, stay a freaking fan. You
Yeah.
don't know what you're talking about. And also being in that situation, the stress comes into it because you can't let this shit keep happening to you. You got to figure out a way to stop this.
And that's just more pressure.
Add just more pressure onto it.
Yeah.
So
right. Well, and that's where I say he's done the hard part, right? He's done the hard part.
Yes.
Now, did he maybe fall asleep at the wheel a little bit when it came to the offense? Maybe take it for granted a little bit. I think that's more than it's probably more true than he mailed it in, right? He might have taken it for granted a little bit and trusted that these guys would be able to uphold what they were doing before, right? What Neilio's saying here. Let me see this. Is coaching offense more about asserting your will and game plan upon your opponent rather than coaching your defense and it being more of a reactionary method? I wouldn't know. I think that's a good question. I'll leave that to you guys. I mean, I definitely didn't coach on the level y'all did. So,
well, I think we were just kind of saying that.
Yeah.
Just a second ago, offense. You know what you're doing offensively. You know what the play looks like. You know how you're attacking the defense.
Yeah.
Defensively, you don't know what to. They got a damn playbook that's this big, and you don't know what damn play's coming at you.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's offense is definitely harder to coach, and defense you gotta react and in doing all that reacting, you got to be able to play fast. And
exactly.
I think that's a thing that we see. Defenses that are not very good usually don't play fast, and they don't play fast for several factors. They don't understand the playbook. They don't. I mean, there's lots of things you can check off on defense that makes it tougher to play defense. What do you think, Coach?
Well, there are certain plays that I'll use, for example. Certain plays I can use against Mallard Creek. Certain plays I got to use against Catawba Ridge because different levels, different playing teams. The way I look at it, and it's simple, and you just said it, is that if they're trying to hurry up, I always play a base cover 2 over top to where I keep everything in front of me. And if you happen to get by me deep, I'm already there. So I can keep everything in front of me. So it's easier to call that defense when there's no threat deep. I'm keeping everything in front of me, and I'm keeping the outsides, everything in, and covering the flats. That's it. That's the basic. That's a basic defense: is cover the flats, cover 2 deep, man over top, and keep everything in front of you. That's
in front of you. Yeah,
that's it.
Agreed.
Let's see. Sooner Cowboy says it's about bully ball. That's why SEC teams have won so much. Teams with more physicality, they have better talent on both sides of the ball. It's always been the Jimmies and Joes. Okay, to an extent, you're right. But when it becomes about Jimmies and when it's about the Jimmies and Joes, that's when you know where the best coaches are.
Yep.
Because they get the Jimmies and Joes, and you're getting better Jimmies and Joes right now than you've been getting. Offensively, I know a lot of people right now are wanting to act like they're not good offensively. You do realize that this is the number 1 offensive line class coming in to this part. And even if Fasusi doesn't end up on there, they'll still be in the top 2 or 3. Okay.
When he says bully ball, Jason,
there's
only one team that I can think of right now. If we want to sit here and say
plays that way, and it's Georgia,
and that's Georgia. That's it. They play bully ball. When you watch Georgia play, there is no, what can I use? there's no fall off. They'll use whatever they can to get the win. Bully ball. And what I mean by bully ball is putting a 340-pound defensive tackle in at fullback, handing the ball off to him, and go behind the 12 personnel, and we're just going to overpower your ass and see what you can do. That's it. That's bully ball.
But again, there's only the one school that does that, really.
That's it.
And look, LSU, what was going on with them? They were loaded, and on both sides of the ball, mind you, but they were explosive as all hell when they won their last one. Okay. Alabama used to play the bully ball, and look, and they could still. That's just not who they have as far as their coaching staff is concerned.
True.
But there's not. I mean, yes, Michigan did it last year, but look how long it took Harbaugh to do that. He was the fucking coach there for 12 years.
It took him 12 years to build that.
And as soon as he left, it left with him.
Hey, if Harbaugh would have been at OU, you'd have fired his ass already.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, shit, there ain't no doubt.
Yeah, you're right.
There ain't no doubt. That's what we were just saying about
How long
Gundy's
did it take
story
him to
at
beat
Fremont.
Ohio State? It took him how long to beat him?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like nine times.
9 years.
Mm-hmm.
Then so you think OU would have lost to Texas 9 years straight and kept that same coach? No.
No.
Coach would have been gone.
That's why who already has 2 losses? Who are we talking about? Who has 2 losses? Georgia doesn't.
They got 1 loss.
They're just one. They've almost had a couple.
Georgia's that
Oh
team.
no, he's talking about Bama because I was saying Bama could because they changed the way they're doing things and all that. They're not playing defense, is what it is.
And they could come up with another one here pretty quick.
Oh yeah, they're listen, they're
suspect.
They can lose this weekend. They're on the road. They're on the road at LSU this weekend.
But their coach is not a bully ball coach.
No. But it doesn't. Hey, he's a badass coach, though.
Yes. He can draw some damn
plays
plays up.
Coach, he can light it up. But
yeah,
their issue is that they're not playing the same defense that they were playing under Nick Saban, and that they changed the type of defense, which I think was the mistake. Yeah. I like their defensive coach. I like their defensive coordinator. I think a lot of people like him. He was a head coach that at South Alabama that they picked up to become their DC. Smart move on his part. How smart was it, though, to change from a more man-to-man when you have the athletes?
Yep.
Why would you come out of your man base when you got the guys that can play man? I don't know. I don't understand why Womack did that. I know you have to be very multiple, though, and so I'm not going to sit here and tell you I've watched enough, and studied it hard enough to say that I know exactly what they do on defense. I just know that they do more of a 3-3-5 and a lot of cover 2, cover 3 stuff. I don't know that I love that, but I think that, look, Oklahoma, I'd love to see them run more man-to-man stuff, and they don't. I hate
the shit out of it.
Jason, you know why? Well, I'll tell you why. And I think Coach might know the reason why. You know why they don't run a lot of man-to-man in high school?
Because nobody's good enough to run it.
Thank you. That's it.
There's only so many. There's only so many of those fucking guys. There's only so many of those fucking guys.
There are so much.
Walker ain't one of them dudes that can do it either. We know. Yeah. There's only a few of them.
And you know what? Guys? That's the reason Notre Dame's defense is good, because we man the shit out of people.
Right.
And that's
you've got great secondary guys.
Yes. Some teams can't get separation. They are expecting you to. A lot of play calling is called for teams that play zone. When you have a team that plays man to man, if that playbook you had for zone,
it shrinks your playbook up.
It is
absolutely
shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because now your playbook went from this to this.
Yeah.
Well, think about this. When Oklahoma was getting into the playoff, Lincoln, right? Lincoln's offenses are so prolific, right? But now you get into the playoff and you play somebody like Alabama, or you play Georgia where they play a lot of man, right? And guess what? Now you're not getting open as easy.
Bumping around your ass the whole
Jimmy
time.
Eli can do it, and Peyton could do it, and some of these other guys can do it. But we're talking about that's 2 or 3 guys that we know for sure that can play it.
Give me the game.
What about there's 4 and 5 receiver sets. What are you going to do then?
Because what's going to happen? They're going to have those 2 out wide, run their ass on 9 routes, and have everybody else in their thing.
It's doing it for a player too is different than doing it the whole fucking day too. You need, not only do you need to have all your guys that are starters be able to run man to man, but your guys that you rotate in better be that damn good at it too. It's a different world. It's a different world we're talking about, and there's so many little different pieces that go into it. They haven't had the amount of time that they need in order. Again, these guys that are coming in now, start thinking about Michael Boganowski and Reggie Powers and these Jaden Rose of the world. These guys are coming in and they're going to get a chance to play a lot earlier. Why? Because their fucking floor was higher with these guys. Eli Bowen, he was a 3-star. He's got a higher ranking than any defensive player, freshman defensive player in the country, according to PFF. And he was a 3-star. So that ought to tell you that not only, hey, they are recruiting on another level. Jaden Jackson, again, we can bring him up all day because he was in the fucking 400s. He should have been a 5-star. Yeah. Started from day 1 on the defensive line at Oklahoma. That's for Brent Venables. Look, again, some of these things are, it's easy to just throw something out there, right? Yeah. Yes, next year defense will be better. It will be better. And as much as we say, it sucks that Danny came back and Billy Bowman came back, because you know what? No, it doesn't. They're gonna have higher grades going into this year because they had another year to develop with these kind of guys. They're going to be in better shape. Now, does it suck for them that you didn't win? Sure it does, because they came back to win. But it's not going to hurt them in the long run. And again, I'm just going to tell you, some of these guys that, the guys like bringing in a guy like Kenai Walker. I like Kenai. He's not who you got to have to cover one of those. And you saw what happened against Ole Miss. They'd move him to somebody else, and that guy got the ball. They find your ass if you're the weak link in that secondary. They will find you.
Hey, Kenai Walker
time
would be that cover 2 guy over top. He's not the corner.
He shouldn't be a corner. That's right.
He can't cover a blanket. I'm saying.
Well, I've been saying I would put Peyton at the other corner right now. If you're having that much issues with because Gentry being hurt, that kind of, Gentry being out hurts you. But if you think about Peyton can cover anybody, he's probably a little better than his brother. But I also think that they want to play more of a positionless secondary anyway, right? That's kind of how they are.
Let's not discuss Peyton, okay?
Yeah, Eli's pretty damn good too, man. Eli's pretty damn good too.
Neelio said, "Say you match."
Oh, him from your ass too, Coach. That's right. He said,
"You know what?
Say you match that improved defense with just an average offense, and OU's probably in contention." Hey, look, if the offense was not in the bottom fucking 10 in the country this year in most categories that matter, right, they're in the mix. They've lost 4 games to 4 good football teams. Yeah. Look, and it sucks. It definitely sucks. But the people that are out there, when your guys like, I like SEC Mike as much as the next guy. I think their fucking show's hilarious. I love watching it. They don't know everything they think they know about everybody.
No.
They're out there to they didn't know. They have their shtick and it works.
They didn't know shit about their own team pulling off an upset.
Who's that? Oh. Who you mean? Oh, you mean Tennessee getting Alabama? Or
yeah.
Yeah, no, look, that's what I'm saying. Not everybody's there. And look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know everything in the world. I don't. We get it wrong. I don't get it wrong when it comes to Lincoln Riley. I don't get it wrong when it comes to that motherfucker. But
mediocre Mike.
I know him like I know my own hand.
Yeah, crazy. Hey, before you get started, I gotta get up off here, man. I gotta be the
Coach, man. We appreciate you coming in, man.
No, I had to jump on, man. I love talking.
Always great talking to you.
Always, man. But I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Get my butt to sleep.
Hey, man, we'll catch you in the morning, man. I'm gonna be on. I may have you jump in. You got time?
I'll jump in tomorrow, man. I don't have anything planned for tomorrow.
Cool.
See you, my brother.
All right, man. Y'all take care, bud.
Good night.
All right, bye.
Neilio wants you to say those guys don't know ish. Look, and that's true too. NFL scouts telling players to stay in school, get developed more. When you're at a place like Oklahoma, where you've got Venables and his staff, because one thing you can't say, this is why I think it's so apparent of what happened offensively, that it looks bad on Venables, because your guys on defense are ungodly good. But if you remember, there was a lot of people that wanted to get rid of Todd Bates and Miguel Chavis the last couple of years. You know? Same people that are talking all that shit about let's get rid of Bill Beaton,
Oh.
There's got to be, I mean, they're just,
There's always got to be a scapegoat.
Sometimes it just fucking happens, man. You just have a bad year. People are the worst. There's no doubt about it, Neilio. People fucking suck. On that, Neilio. Absolutely. I have no use for people. I have no use for people. It's one of those that I got from Jeremy Duda. He sees fuck people. I have no use for people.
That's hilarious.
But hey, look, man. In the end, I think they're going to be fine. If they give him enough time. Look, and shit, we could all be wrong, and BV doesn't he's not the guy.
Sure.
Guess what? If that's the case, they'll get rid of him. But if it comes at the right time, like let's say you let him get through a full 5 or 6 years, right? And then you let him go because he just doesn't perform with those guys no matter what. Whatever happens, they lose those games. And you've got somebody that, okay, yeah, now you fire him, but maybe you elevate the next guy on the staff or whatever, and you don't have to lose the whole fucking team. Right now, you fire Brent Venables, you lose this team. The whole thing.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed.
And that puts you way the hell behind. You can't have it. You can't have it, guys. Sometimes you have to. You ever wonder why some of those teams that, that team that everybody's talking about, it always goes from here to here too. It's always that dark horse, quote unquote, team. Remember, Coach, it'll always be that. This is the team that comes out of nowhere to do it. Then they don't. Texas Tech last year.
Yep.
They don't do it. So now you're fucking off them. They suck. Yep. They made me look wrong. They suck.
Hey, Jason. Hey.
Tech suck.
Oklahoma State this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They were going to be the kingpins of the Big 12.
It's fucking hilarious, ain't it? Just like Lincoln was going to go out to the West Coast and just fucking dominate college football because, you can get better players out there and, it's just everything's better at SoCal until it ain't. Until you're having to fucking do the Mickey Mouse thing. Like, did you see that yesterday? I got to find that thing. Brother, these guys, I'm going to tell you, he's in trouble, Coach. Lincoln's in deep shit right now. They are on his bumper.
Good.
Yeah, it is fucking great. I've got the folder with all this stuff in it about Lincoln. It says Lincoln is fucked.
Gotta hate that.
Oh, it makes me laugh. More and more all the time. It makes me laugh. Oh, damn. Where is that Mickey Mouse Lincoln thing? I got to show this one more time because it's just too funny. Damn it. I don't see it in here either. Let me see if I can find it real quick. If not, we'll move on. But, I mean, Gundy, I think his ass should be in deep shit because there's no way you could get away with saying that kind of shit about your... The fans are the only fucking reason the guy's still around. He snowed their asses into believing in him. And now he's talking shit about him. It's unbelievable. The ones that can't pay their bills, coach. It's the ones that can't pay their bills.
That's right. Can't pay their bills. Yeah. Hell of a statement.
It's fucking unbelievable. You know what? I can do it like this. Here's how I'll do it. Let me do this.
Teams wise, I mean, we got right. I mean, like, look at.
You ready for this? This is fucking great. This is fucking great.
Well, I mean, number one, I mean, we've had the chance to win every single game in the fourth quarter we played, and we've played far and away the most difficult schedule that we've played in the 3 years that I've been here. I mean, obviously, defensively, I mean, no shit, right? I mean, like, look at it, look at the numbers, look at everything. I mean, that's pretty easy to pick out. Like, we've improved a ton special teams-wise. I mean, we got some of the best specialists in the country. We've returned it well, especially in the last couple of games. I think our ability to run the football has really improved. I think we're doing some really nice things up front. I think we've improved in a ton of areas. I'm frustrated as everybody that hasn't translated into wins and losses, but it will. You know, it will. We're going to fight through this year, but I haven't been doing it forever, but I've been doing it long enough to know if you got the right people in the building and you're continually to make progress on the things that you know when over time that those things will take hold. And eventually, like, you know, I've told you guys this before. It's like, oh yeah, I mean, weeks we got to say this. I understand, but like, you go change, 5-6 plays this season, and then everybody's like, oh my God, they're freaking unbelievable. And the other 99.9% of the plays that we play would all be exactly the same. And so
that motherfucker is scrambling to give you a fucking reason.
Oh, that's awful.
And hey, shout out to Tattoo Baker, by the way. Tattoo Baker's been doing this for a while now. I tried to get him in on the show yesterday. It didn't work out. I've been having technical difficulties for sure. I'm gonna get him on. He's great at what he puts on Twitter. Shout out to Tattoo Baker. That's his Mickey Mouse Lincoln Riley stuff. It's awesome. You guys, if you don't follow him, if you're a Twitter person and you don't follow Tattoo Baker, you're fucking missing out. The dude is hilarious. Unbelievably funny. But even if you didn't have the Mickey Mouse voice in there, he sounds like a fucking bitch saying this stuff. Right? I mean, it's crazy. Oh yeah, it's all Dak Prescott's fault there with the Cowboys, huh? He sucks, blah blah blah. Yeah, I know. Remember when it was Tony Romo's fault too?
Yeah.
Me too.
I mean, you go look at their numbers, and it tells you a whole different story for Romo and for Dak.
Yeah, I mean, go get a fucking real coach in there that might help.
Well,
somebody that'll tell Jerry to get the fuck out of the locker room and shut up.
Exactly. I think Jimmy Johnson should buy the Cowboys.
Think Jimmy has the money to buy the Cowboys?
No,
I don't either.
But he ought to find somebody that could go into it with him.
Yeah,
and he could be the GM.
Almost as good as the OU bowl game video that went around. What does that mean? Trojan fight. Now look, every fucking time one of these clowns comes in here talking that shit. What are we talking about? The bowl game video. What bowl game video? You got Riley's trash. Mickey Mouse ass is what he is. It's a shame. How are you siding with Lincoln still, Trojan fight? How? Hilarious. Maybe OK State can go get Lincoln Riley from USC. Yeah, maybe. To pay the buyout. Be about half of what they just got last year. Here, we'll just let you hear a little bit more.
You still gotta win at the end of the day. And it's about winning. And trust me, I get that as good as anybody. But I also have to pay attention to the other 99.9% too. I can't ignore that as well. And then within that, I see massive progress that will pay dividends for this program and will pay dividends soon.
That's too funny. Way too funny.
Yeah. Okay. I tell you, it's more funny watching Lincoln scramble and scramble and scramble for fucking answers that he doesn't have and making excuses and blaming everybody but himself. Yeah. That's why we're fucking laughing at Lincoln. I don't care if you like it. In fact, nobody asked you to, nobody cares. Nobody cares. I'm going to say whatever the fuck I want. It's my show.
We don't.
He's trash. Shit. He's trash. He's been trash. He's still trash. And yeah, y'all owe that trash 90 more million. I get it. They are this close to being elite. This close. He's been saying that. I've been thinking he was talking about his, shoe size or something. But it's elite. Apparently, that's what they think. Yeah, they're this close, Stephen G says. It's hilarious, bro. It's hilarious. It's just funny shit, though. It couldn't happen to two better guys, him and Gundy.
No.
Yeah. Let's go back to the Gundy thing. I want to hear this.
Maybe they can coach together.
This place has had tremendous because I get tired of people complaining and bitching about this and that versus just doing something about it and trying to figure out a way to make it better. Well, that's what happens in college athletics. And as Jenny said, she's exactly right. It's just on the bigger stage where people can voice their opinion. And in most cases, the people that are negative and voicing their opinion are the same ones that can't pay their own bills. They're not taking care of themselves. They're not taking care of their own family. They're not taking care of their own job, but they have an obligation to speak out and complain about others because it makes them feel better. But then in the end, when they go to bed at night, they're the same failure that they were before they said anything negative about anybody.
Yeah. Gundy's stealing fucking money from Okie Light, $8 million a year for that shit. To, have that many. And Trojan fight. Houston, Maine, Tulane, and Temple. Okay. Tulane beat y'all's ass a couple of years ago too, and they're better than they were that year. Just so you know. Oklahoma beat them. Temple and Maine, okay, yeah, whatever. Houston just got done beating K-State. And you guys fucking lost to Maryland and Minnesota. And now Washington, after all those guys are gone from the program, all their best players are gone. It is what it is, but you shouldn't throw stones when you live in a glass house there, buddy. Acting like you guys have played the best fucking schedule in America. You lost to fucking Michigan too, which is trash. We've already established that too. Unbelievable.
Well, they'll get another chance to pull off the upset coming up here.
Oh yeah,
soon.
Notre Dame coming up. Yeah, that's one tough one you got. You're not going to get out of that one. Maybe you will. Maybe not this year. You're not, but they're trying. They're trying to get out of that one. If USC
we ain't very good
allows
though.
that fucker to get rid of that game,
We ain't very good Trojan fight. Y'all probably hang 50 on us.
50. Gonna throw a 50 on him.
Or that's the shit you were telling me at the start of the season anyway.
That is what he was saying. He talks a lot of shit. He don't back much of it up. He just got a big mouth though. Sounds it's most USC fans. Got to be honest with you. Most of them aren't like USCJ and fucking just tell it like it is whenever it's.
I love that dude.
Me too. I'm a big fan of USCJ. Not a fan of Trojan fight or clown ass fucking what's his name? Why'd I forget his name? I was just watching him. I was laughing my ass earlier.
Oh.
Kind of like I lobbied. I didn't lobby for injury. Dude, hey, where the fuck is this? I didn't lobby for injuries. I said if they get hurt, you clown. Get the fuck out of here.
That lobbying probably helped a lot there, Trojan.
Stupid ass. You can run off and fucking go talk to somebody else. Go talk to a wall for all I give a fuck.
Go talk to another USC fan. One of the other three anyway.
Yeah. Go talk to a fucking wall, bro. I don't give a shit what you got to say. Clown.
Well, Jace, I'm about ready to call it a night, bro.
I'm out of here too, Coach. We've been going almost 3 hours. I mean, it's a little under our normal, but we've had enough. I think we're
all good.
We talked it through. We talked it through. Who you guys got this weekend? Who you guys got this weekend?
Oh hell, I don't know.
Is it Florida State? I think. Is this Florida State week?
I
think it is Florida State week. Yeah.
I just jacking with you.
Ought to be a big one. Ought to be a big one.
It should be.
Yeah, I'm over that, dude.
We just got to stay on the winning side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I think that's look. They've looked a lot better. Ever since that loss. I mean, they didn't look great for a couple of weeks, but I think once they figured the offense down, those guys got their feet underneath them, and you can tell that they have a real coordinator at this point.
Yeah, you can. And you can tell
he stuck with it and stuck with it and stuck with it. And then finally, when Riley figured it out, it was over.
Yeah.
It's only going to get better with Denbrock.
And I tell you what, I truly see. And I see Riley. Every week he's gotten better and better. So we'll be okay.
Do you think that one question before we get out of here from Stephen G says, I have a question. Does he think Oklahoma firing Seth Luttrell was a smart move now?
Well, again, I think probably yes, but again, that's not the way I probably would have handled it.
Yeah, I think,
but that's just a matter of opinion, guys. I think the change was correct.
Yes.
I think
you would have done it probably different, but you probably would have made the change quick too, though. You maybe demote him and do something else, and somebody else is calling plays. You've made those changes. You don't just fire guys. Is what you're getting at.
Right? No, exactly.
I think had Brent done that,
if Brent had done that, it would have and shit.
Whatever, but yeah, if Brent would have done something like that, I think it would have probably been helpful too. But again, I still think that it was the right thing to do. It was the right.
I think overall, I think you got what you wanted, but and I was joking about, Seth would have been washing the jock straps. That'd have been his new job. But
there's been a lot of information that says that he was not.
Yeah,
there was some bad shit going on in there.
But you can accomplish the same thing without firing the guy. I mean, because you tell him he's going to go wash the jock straps every day, he's probably saying, "Hey, F you, dude. I'm not going to do that shit.
Right.
I'm out of here."
So that's how you.
It's just a roundabout way of
demoting them, stuff like that.
It was his idea. Yeah, it was his idea.
Right, I get it. I get that.
Anyway, but I think at the end of the day, the bottom line to that question is, y'all got what you needed to happen. You got the outcome you needed.
Yeah, and I think that, it's like what I've been saying, and we'll talk more about this tomorrow, guys, on here. We're going to, as we get into the tomorrow on Rise and Shine College Football, we'll get into Missouri, a little bit into Missouri, what we're going to see from that football team this weekend, and then obviously kind of what we're seeing from OU, more of that conversation of what we've been talking about. And I think that, look, I think it's pretty clear that that move had to be made. That move had to be made. In whatever way you make it, I think that there's like there was other ways to go about it. They probably should have made it earlier, and I think that that's where, as you said, Coach, the learning curve. This is teaching Brent Venables not to waste time on stuff. I think
exactly. Make a decision and roll.
Yeah, you got to be you. The longer you put stuff off, I mean, I think that goes true in life too. The longer you put off certain decisions, the worse it makes it. Right?
Sure, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yep. Yeah. And Neilio, you're right. I don't understand what he was trying to get accomplished either, but thankfully he gone. All right, guys. We appreciate everybody coming in. If you hadn't already hit that like button, please make sure you do. Appreciate Coach Ricks coming in as well. Guys, if you're not already subscribed to his channel, he's doing great stuff all the time. We love his channel. I mean, he's great to have on here. Love him, and having, Sooner Legends, all the guys that come on this show, man, we enjoy it. I mean, I love bringing these guys on. So, hopefully we'll continue to bring more of those guys. I've been trying to get a couple of guys to come in for tomorrow's show. We'll see kind of how that works out. Appreciate another one to get over there and check out, Marcus Dent. He was in here earlier from Gridiron Insight. You guys think I'm kidding around? Him and Michael Stevens, they have some amazing conversations, man. They talk some shit. They know SEC ball. They're in the middle of SEC country. They know what they're talking about. Great show. Not enough people are watching it. I can tell you that. Not enough people are watching it. Get over there and check out the Gridiron Insight as well. Again, I'm with you there. Comanche Sooner, good to see you. Good to see you, Scott Christopher, Charles Crows Fly High, Jimmy Satterfield. Thanks to all you guys for coming in. Neilio, Stephen G, Mars Jams, Trojan Fight. You can stay gone. Sooner Cowboys, everybody that we got in here today. KJ Goated. Obviously we had Coach. We had Bishop Frank, Chicken, all the regulars. Satterfield. We appreciate all you guys coming in, really, man, and just Kimberly K. My mom was in here for a little while too.
Yeah,
thanks for coming in. JW Crunch, our hater. Love it when he comes in too. He's funny. He just talks a little shit, and he doesn't make it like personal like some people. C John, thanks to see everybody that came in, man. If I missed your name, sorry I missed you, but thanks a lot for coming in. Mars Jams, all you guys. Comanche Sooner. We'll see you all on the next one.